back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, April the 5th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello, gentlemen.
Don't call me that.
He wasn't.
I didn't think so.
No, not you.
Sure. Well,
He was calling me a gentleman.
Calling Harry that. Yeah.
Fine.
You can do that. That's fine. That's all acceptable. How are you on this fine evening?
Good.
Confused. It takes me a lot to remember what day of the week it is, and then the fact that we're
doing it on Tuesday instead of Wednesday.
Yeah, my world is just
all kaflooey, huh?
That's right.
Well, look at it this way: you have a Wednesday off now. What will you do with yourself?
Well, I have plenty to do. Yes.
Mock podcast.
You could sit there and talk, just
Yeah, it would be the same as when we do the podcast.
Pretty much.
I won't have to restart my computer.
This is true. Very true. I like that. That's going on unopened. So anyway. So, yeah, we did the Mets one on Sunday.
Congratulations.
You did not join us. It was fun. It was good. We got our Pete, we only went about a half an hour, so right?
If a half an hour is 90 minutes, then yes.
Exactly. All right. So we went about 90 minutes on Sunday. So it was good though. We got a lot of Mets talk out, so we don't have to do, much of it tonight. Only about 25.
Don't have to do it for the rest of the year.
The rest of the year, yeah. No. Tonight. So.
Mets fans all fired up, even though all their star pitchers seem to be stiff and hurt. And
yeah, well, they didn't, they didn't have enough training, spring training, obviously, because pitchers have the most, right? They report in the beginning of February, and now they report in the middle of March, and that sucked. So
Scherzer's kind of old. Grom's been dealing with injuries the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. We shall see. Pete, you look more ominous than ever because all I'm seeing is your mouth and the light.
Oh yeah, I know.
Almost looks like you have like a Darth Vader helmet on.
Yeah, I'll put my hat back.
Actually, pull it down. That was pretty cool. Actually, just pull it down over your eyes.
You look like you're in The Handmaid.
I'm ready to play poker. And don't forget about the biggest issue with the Mets pitching,
and that is
their Mets pitchers.
Oh, that's right.
True.
And,
I always forget that.
That's always the number one factor.
So. That always gets by me. I just let it go.
But that's what I said the other day. I think last week I asked the question, maybe a couple weeks ago, how does it fall apart for the Mets?
Right.
And then DeGrom is now out for whoever knows. And Scherzer might just a little hamstring tweak. Oh, I'll be fine in a few days. So that's how it falls apart for them.
Yeah, but I got a feeling he will be, though. And this DeGrom thing, hopefully it's just more precautionary than anything else, and he's back sometime in May.
It is no way foreshadowing, not a portent of things to come.
Okay, well, you know what? I can keep that optimistic attitude about it, right? Because at some point in the season, it's going to turn to pessimism, right?
You always do keep a positive attitude until you are let loose after three,
until
bullshiz and IPAs on Facebook with the
or the
shit
fourth inning
emojis, yeah,
or the fourth inning happens, and then
or the fourth inning of game one, yeah, exactly.
That's right. Already the world is ending, and
on the other hand, I try and balance out John's optimism with, I like to call it realism.
Your lack of giving a shit really helps you be a Mets and Jets fan.
There you go. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I've adopted that for the Yankees and Giants this last couple of years. I'll be honest with you.
Well, it's either that or like heavy medication.
That's right.
I prefer to go the natural route. I'm be pessimistic.
Exactly.
I mean, and look, this year's been pretty easy because now the Knicks are back to where they always have been, so I don't even have to worry about the false hope of that anymore. So
right, it was a little bit of a tease last year.
That's right.
Yeah. And listen, we were saying,
are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
We'll still have to. We'll still have to talk about the Nuggets for a while. And we want to find out who our Chicago fans basketball team is. We sort of adopt Chicago as one of our home cities. But listen, if things kind of continue the way they are, we probably won't have to talk about the Nets for very much longer.
No.
Or we'll be talking about them until the Eastern Conference Finals. You just don't know.
That's a possibility.
You just don't know. Yeah.
Depends if they.
The NBA is very, very, very interesting this year.
Yes, it most certainly is. So, on that note, why don't we start with a little? Let's get some baseball stuff out of the way.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's catch Harry up. Harry,
catch me up to what?
Well, first of all, it's not a lot of Mets stuff to talk about.
No.
I just want to read one thing to you. Mark Carrick. My bad. Mark Carrick. He wrote the other day.
Drummer for 38 Special.
He is 38 Special drummer. Exactly. He wrote the other day. I know it has been tough, a rough couple of days for the Mets, but every time I watch them, I'm struck by the volume of good quality big league players that they have assembled. No team is perfect, and fans, as they should, fixate on flaws. But these guys could be really, really good. So there's
somebody got paid to write that. Is that a professional writer?
It's a professional writer. Now there is one optimal word in there.
Could.
Right.
Well, right. I don't know what source I was reading it from, but I've read a few power rankings as recently as yesterday going into the season,
right.
And I think I'm higher on the Mets than most of the baseball writers.
Right.
In that, I have the Mets certainly in the top 10, maybe in the top 5 or 6, and most of them have them at the very highest around 8 to 12 in the power rankings, which I find really interesting. What's your guys' take on that? What do you think that is?
As far as offense goes?
You just think other teams have gotten better? No, just power rankings as far as the overall prospect.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I would put them a little bit. Me being the optimist as I am, I mean, hope springs eternal, right? But I would put them a little higher than that. Maybe 7 to 11. But
yeah,
I have no idea what power rankings mean.
Well,
I figured they were right in the middle of the pack of the top 10. To be honest with you, maybe 6 somewhere in there. So 8's not far off from that, but to go to 12 with that, I think is a little low. I mean, they do have the makings of a pretty good solid team. Obviously,
is that in baseball or just the
in baseball? Yeah.
In baseball, yeah.
What's interesting
in beer drinking
in the National League East. They have them somewhere between 8 and 12 in the East.
In the East, right? Exactly.
Well, look,
in the Metropolitan Hockey Division,
people are hot on Toronto.
Right.
They've certainly made some good moves. The Rays have popped up even higher than they were last year. You have, I think, 3 teams in the American League East in the top 10 in Boston, Toronto, and the Yankees, and the Rays. 4 at the top 10 in the American League East. Obviously, you have the Dodgers, the Braves. Even though they've had some changes, obviously they have 2 of their best players coming back. They're ranked in the top 5 for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The Milwaukee Brewers certainly did not hurt themselves. And then you have teams like the Texas Rangers and the Mets, certainly, who have made some pretty good improvements over the year. The Astros will still be there. So at least prognosticating the beginning of the season, I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite. I think there's probably 10, 12 teams who could compete for that top spot right now.
Fair enough. MLB came out with their top 100 players right now. There are 5 Mets on that list.
That's great.
All right. Jacob deGrom is number 7. He's the highest ranking one. Max Scherzer, number 12. Starling Marte, 41. Pete Alonso, yeah.
See, that was a good steal. I told you Marte was a good pickup, man. The Yankees should have gotten him.
Yeah. Pete Alonso, 62, and Francisco Lindor, 68.
Well, it's funny how Lindor went from being the best shortstop in baseball
to number 68 in the top 100.
Yeah. I mean,
give him a couple of months this year. With a little luck, he'll rise.
He'll be down to 87.
He'll be down to 87, right? Exactly.
You're right.
Just a couple months, yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of good shortstops. None of them really went anywhere where you thought they were going to go. And Trevor Story wound up playing second base in Boston. With Correa going to Minnesota, it was an interesting offseason. I think you have to give the Mets at least a B+ to an A- as far as their offseason. Other than maybe, I don't know, the Dodgers and the Rangers, and who else? I don't know. Who else had a better offseason than the Mets? As far as acquisitions.
Rangers is probably about it.
Yeah, maybe the Rangers as far as
they've invested a lot.
And the projected difference between where they were and where they, theoretically should be with those changes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On that note, the Mets, there's the SNY, or a lot of the pundits via SNY did some voting or prognosticating, if you will, the other day. I won't read them all because there's way too many here. But Todd Zeal, Jerry Blevins, Omar Minaya, Sal Licata, Kim Jones, and Scott Thompson all picked the Mets to win the NL East. All right. And whatchamacallit? And
Mike Francesa didn't?
Mike Francis did not know. And Todd Zeal, Jerry Blevins, Omar Minaya, and Sal Licata all picked the Mets to win the World Series.
I mean, look, the Mets have always had a bigger dose of homerism.
I didn't even pick the Mets to win the World Series.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Who are you picking to win the World Series?
I didn't do that yet, but I didn't. I'll explain to you. You got to vote because Pete and I did the other day on the Mets show, and then I'll explain to you, and then I'll tell you what we picked.
Okay, what do I have to vote on?
So, all right. So on that note, right now with the Mets, I need what you say their final record is going to be, where they place in the division, and how far they get in the playoffs.
87 wins, second in the division.
Hold on, 87 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So 87 and 75. You're going. Second in division, and is that good enough for a wild card?
Oh yeah, they're getting in the playoffs.
So they're getting the wild card, and how far are they going to playoffs?
NLDS,
and losing in the NLDS.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to refresh?
So I'll refresh
the audience
everybody.
as to our picks.
Yeah. So Harry says 87 and 75. They get a wild card and they lose in the NLDS. Pete the other day said 88 and 74. So one game more. They get the wild card. Same thing. And they lose in the NLCS. Okay, so they're getting one series further. I, the eternal optimist, have them going and
107 wins.
Get ready for Harry to laugh.
112 wins.
You're ready for Harry to laugh.
But they're only going to get a wild card, and they're going to lose in that.
135 wins.
They lose in the play-in
because Atlanta's going to win 118, and that Mets will have to play in the play-in.
All right, exactly. Now, 95 and 67, I have them going. So I have them 7 wins higher than Pete.
I would have the Mets a little higher. The fact is, I do think Atlanta is going to be better than they were last year, and
I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to obviously with the two of them, they're going to be they're going to be like they were last season, but it's going to go all the way. Philly's going to be better than they were last year, but the two top teams are going to be the Mets and the
absolutely. But what I mean is that it's going to be hard for the Mets to count on those interdivision wins as much as I think they did last year.
Right.
I think that there's going to be they might not win as many games against the Phillies. They're certainly not going to win as many games against Atlanta. It's
well. That also means that if Philly's a little bit but also that leads to if the Philly's a little tougher than they were last year, and the Mets are going to have struggle in a couple of those games. So's Atlanta. True. So it's going to balance out. So I have them going 95 and 67, winning the division. It could be by a game, but winning the division. And same thing, losing in the NLCS. Getting to the NLCS, but losing.
The only reason why I have the Mets at under 90 is, and look, they could very well win 94, 93 games.
Right.
I think they're going to get off to a slow start.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would have asked me that 3 weeks ago, and you would have told me they would have had a full training camp and their top two pitchers weren't entering the season with dealing with nagging injuries, right, I probably would have upped that to 90, 91. But I just think they're going to get off to a little bit of a slow start. That's the only reason I have. I do think they're a 90-win team.
Fair enough. Yeah, so that's where we're at. That was what we did the other day. Now let's go around really quick, and there's nothing else on the Mets. Oh yeah, actually, there's one other thing I just wanted to say. It's kind of an interesting little anecdote kind of a thing. Max Scherzer's salary for this year is $43.3 million. Okay, the Pirates' payroll this year is 37.9. The Guardians' payroll is 37.4. The Oakland A's payroll is 32.5, and the Baltimore Orioles' payroll is 31.7. So Max Scherzer is making more money than everybody on those 4 teams combined for each team.
Look, you guys went all in, and it's look, the American League East and the National League East. The American League East, there's 4 teams that are going to beat up on each other maybe all year, and
that's another thing too. As good as all of those teams are, that's going to reflect, and that could very well, I should say, that could very well reflect on their records in the division.
I agree.
So, but that remains to be seen. So let's move on to picking what the Yankees are going to do this year. Same kind of deal.
What was their record last year?
The Yankees' record last year was, good question. Let me pull it up here. Unless Jimmy finds it first.
It was better than you thought it was going to be. I don't think you're going to see a 100-win team this year.
Probably not. The Yankees were 92-70 last year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for them to get back to that. I'll be honest with you.
Could very well be. So what would you say would be what they do this year? We'll go with Harry first.
I go first.
You go first. It's your team, so you go
I
first.
think the Yankees are going to battle for 3rd place with the Red Sox.
Okay.
And I think they're going to win 88 games.
88-74. All right. And does that get them a wild card?
I don't know. Probably not.
And no
wild
card.
How does the wild card work this year? Refresh my
There's
memory.
3 wild cards this year.
3 wild cards. So yes, I do think they will get into the wild card then.
Okay. So no div. You think they're getting a wild card, and how deep in the playoffs do they go?
2nd round.
So ALDS.
Mm-hmm.
Losing the ALDS. All right. So basically, same as the Mets, except 1 game more. And they lose in the divisional series. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, because I think that so there's going to be 7 or 8 teams in the playoffs this year.
There's going to be 6 teams from each.
Okay, so 3 division winners and 3 wild cards.
Yep.
So I think you could see potentially all 3 wild cards being in the AL East.
It's possible, sure.
Yeah,
why not?
because I don't think the Tigers or Royals are going to be able to get that. The Twins, who knows? The White Sox are going to run away with the Central, and then the West. I think the Astros win that, but I'm not sure the Angels and the Rangers are going to.
I mean, if you're
Mariners, maybe
talking about 90-ish wins.
Yeah,
I don't think got to win 30 more games.
Yeah, and I don't think the Mariners are going to have the year they had last year. I think all 3 wild card teams come out of the AL East. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
and Oakland is having a fire sale, so
yeah, which means they'll probably win.
Which means they'll win the West
games.
Instead of 86, they'll win like 80 or 81 games. You know
right.
what I mean? They'll still have that kind of year, just be a little farther away.
Right.
You know. But yeah, it could.
They'll bring up 6 more guys that no one's ever heard of, and they'll all be really good.
Yeah.
Not staggering number-wise, but just like really good in their
really good, solid players.
Their WAR numbers are always way higher than anything else.
Good enough to make it interesting. It could be 4 AL East teams and the White Sox in Houston.
It could very well be.
I
would not shock.
Seattle definitely overperformed a little bit last year. Not saying
Seattle added some pitching, but they lost some pieces. Is what they gained better than I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little unsure on Seattle. I'm a little unsure on the Angels too, because the Angels certainly, obviously made some moves. The Angels are on paper better than they were last year, don't you think?
I do think that. I do think that.
Especially their pitching.
Well, yeah, but
they got Syndergaard, so
right.
They should be.
But they've got to play Houston, and now what it should be a considerably better Texas team.
That's what I mean. I think
30 games better, but
yeah.
So so they may end up sort of treading water.
I would not be surprised if you saw the White Sox, the Astros, and basically the American League East in the playoffs, with the exception of the Orioles.
That would be
none of that would shock me. None of that would shock me. So, all right, Radio Pete, what are your picks for the New York Yankees?
All right, well, they're the Yankees, so.
Mm-hmm.
Who won these predictions last year? Did we ever really recap?
Yeah, I'll pull that up too. I have that up. I'll pull that up. Did you ask? You didn't ask a question. You're still thinking, Pete, correct?
Yes. All right, I'll say. I don't know if we're gonna have a 100-game winner either.
I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna get close this year.
I think somebody's gonna be around 95. Somebody's
94, 95.
Yeah, somebody's gonna rise a little bit.
Right. But that difference always between 95 and 100, or even 95 and 98, is always that last 4, 5, 6 wins always get really tough.
Yeah.
That's the difference between a really good team and a great team.
True.
They're still the Yankees, but the pitching is a mess. I'm gonna say 89 wins. And they'll be a wild card team.
89 and 73. No division.
What is the playoff format?
Let me pull it up. Hold on.
One plays 6, 2 plays. I don't think is there playing. I don't think there's playing anymore. There's just 3 wild card teams now.
Yeah, hold on. 2022.
But then you end up with 3 teams. After
6 teams.
Well, no, I mean,
I don't think there's any bye anymore. I think it's just 1 plays 6, 2 plays.
But but then you end up with 3 winners. So what do you do then?
Oh, you're right. I don't know.
Yeah,
somebody has to have a bye.
Oh, maybe the
first and second. I think
5th and 6th are a play-in. That's probably what it is.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right here. Hold on.
That's what it should be.
Right, here we go.
The last 2 wildcard teams should have like a 3-game series.
Well, let's figure it out right here.
And then you take the winner of that and the 3 other teams. Well, no, because there's 4 other teams remaining.
All right, yeah, here we go. First seed is the best overall record. Second seed is the second best among, obviously, divisional winners. Third seed is the third best record. 4 through 6 are wild card wins. The 3 best records amongst non-divisional winners. The top 2 seeds will get a bye to the divisional round. Okay?
Oh, hold on, back up. So now it's not division winners, it's
division winners.
Division winners, okay.
And 3 wild card teams. And the 3 wild card teams, like we said, are the 3 best records that aren't divisional winners. Right.
Okay.
The seeds, first and second seed, will get a bye straight to the NLDS or the NEALDS, divisional series.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So
the wild card round, seed number 3 will host. So that's the lowest seeded divisional winner. Will play the lowest seeded wild card. 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. The winners of those go on to play 1 and 2 in the divisional.
1 plays the lowest ranked winner, and 2 plays the
highest ranked winner.
So the best 2 division winners get the 1 and 2 seeds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct. There you go. So that's the way it is. So yes, there's no, and it will be. What is the actual format though?
There's no single game elimination.
It's not a single game, but is it?
I think it's 5 in the wild card.
It's still a 5 games.
It's 5 in the wild card round, and then all the rest are 7, I believe.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm just trying to find that for certain. I want to read it. Yeah, it doesn't actually say here, but. Let me see if this one.
So depending on how let's say Houston and Chicago have the best 2 records, you could have 3 wild cards. You could have 4 teams in the AL East that all
play in the first round. Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting. All right.
So
whatever happens, the Yankees going to lose in the first round.
There won't be reseedings. The team best record overall. Besides, there won't be a game 163 tiebreaker game to determine playoff games. So, like we said, qualify for the first round of the playoffs. First round is 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, but it doesn't say how many games. So you got to be right. It's got to be 5.
It's not a single game. I think
it's not a single game. It doesn't say how many in the series, though. That's really. This is the third one I'm looking at, and it doesn't say how many games.
Yeah, so. I think. So whatever the first round is, the Yankees will bow out.
Yeah. So the Yankees. Okay. So that being said,
89 wins, wild card, bow out in the wild card round, I guess.
In wild card round. All right.
I think the division series is still best of 5.
Division series. So it's 5, 5, and 7. Or is it 3, 5, and 7?
3, 5, and 7.
I'm thinking that it might be 3, 5, and 7. We'll have to get clarification on that at some point. But all right. So just for shiggles, if you will, my picks are: I'm going to say the Yankees are going to win 90 games. Yep. I'm even being optimistic about the Yankees. So 90 and 72. All right. They are going to get a wild card, and they're going to lose in the ALDS. So they're going to make it out of the wild card round, but lose in the next round. That's my prediction. So to recap, Harry, 88 and 74, they get a wild card and lose in the ALDS. Pete, 89 and 73, they get a wild card, lose in the wild card round. And myself, 90 and 72, they get a wild card and lose in the ALDS. So I'm same as Harry, except 2 wins higher. There you go. There you have it. Those are our predictions for
the wild card round. Is a 3-game series,
so it's a 3, 5, and 7.
Yes,
3, 5, and 7. Yankees can win 3.
Which I kind of like, actually.
Yankees can win 2 games in that series, so they can do that. I'm gonna actually. I'm a little thirsty, so I'm having a beer really quick.
Oh.
I'm having a Hop Shock from River Horse Brewing.
That's too much.
Hop Shock.
It looks like an energy drink.
A little bit, yeah. It's a pretty busy label, right? A little bit, so. Hop Shock. So yeah,
I have some water.
You having some water? Well, mine's water too.
Water based.
I have some coffee because if I didn't have this, I would be asleep right now.
I left my coffee downstairs and then was too lazy to go down and get it.
There you go.
By the way, for those of you out there who are interested in alternatives to sugar as a sweetener for your coffee, stevia,
Pete's finger,
not the way to go.
Stevia.
Yeah.
Is it? Well, that's the problem. Stevia works. Stevia, on the other hand,
maybe I bought the wrong product.
Yeah, but it's a guy named Steve on the cover. Like,
yeah. Well, there was 2 E's. So,
right.
But yeah, it just to me, it almost has like a, like a saccharin taste, which is not supposed to. It's a plant.
Right.
It's not created in a lab from chemicals, but nah.
Not so much.
Nope.
So it's got a what kind of a taste does it have?
It's almost like a saccharin.
Okay.
There's a little sweetness, but then it's kind of bitter afterwards.
Just drink it black.
There you go.
I'm not enough of a man to do that. I don't like coffee. I like
those coffee
caffeine.
shakes.
There's an obvious answer there. Then don't drink coffee.
Well, here's the thing. He's not a young man anymore, but
Bill Russell,
a formerly young man named Adam Horowitz,
okay,
better known as King Ed Rock,
who
said it best when he said, "I like my sugar with coffee and cream," and that's kind of where I am.
That's where you're at right now.
So,
okay,
but probably about maybe a third black coffee and then about a third of half and half. I can tolerate that, but I wanted something just to take the edge off the bitterness from caffeinated.
Try a little agave.
Agave? Okay, I'll try that next.
I
only have
throw a little honey in there.
Even maple syrup is good.
I only have 96 packets of stevia left.
That's good.
In the box.
It's good.
So,
give them out. Give them out this Halloween.
You know what? I think I'll give one to each of my delivery customers during the day.
There you go.
Yeah, why
here's
not?
Your flowers and here's a couple stevia packets.
Just random.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice.
All right. Is this podcast started?
All right.
We can get it going now. Anyway. All right. So, baseball-wise, I think there's one other thing.
I thought you were going to tell us about last year's predictions.
Oh, yeah, I did. That is what I wanted to do. No, that's football. Okay, so we got that. Let's do last year's. Let me pull them up. Pete, do you have anything on baseball while I pull
I got a couple things really.
Go for it while I pull
quick.
those numbers up.
All right, so Brewers. I don't know if you heard this. I guess this happened today. I think their catcher Pedro Severino, I guess, is going to be the backup catcher. 80 games following a positive test for clomiphene, which is a banned substance. Now he says
an alternative to stevia.
Yeah, apparently. Well, it does a little bit more than that, but he is not fighting the ban. He says, I accept responsibility. Apparently, he said he and his wife have been trying to start a family, and they were having some problems with that. They went to the Dominican Republic, and they sought some medical assistance there. And one of the doctors gave them a medication, which he now knows, and did not at the time, contains clomiphene. And he's not fighting the suspension, and he's sorry it was a screw up and blah, blah, blah. And I hope that's really the case. I have no reason to doubt the guy.
He and his wife were trying to start a family, and the doctor said, you should really beef up your power numbers.
Beef up your power numbers a little bit.
So that your arbitration year is a little better.
You make more money, you can adopt a few kids. So
there you go.
But it seems like it's on the up and up. And but the real issue here is, we're how many days away from opening day? I don't know when the first game for the Brewers is, but it's soon, and they don't have a backup catcher. So they were kicking around some names like Jeff Mathis, Wilson Ramos, even Jonathan Lucroy's name was mentioned.
Johnny Bench.
John Lucroy.
But apparently, I think he just got inducted into the Ring of Honor or whatever, so he's most likely retired. But my point with all this is, man, if the Yankees had just waited, what they could have gotten for Gary Sanchez.
I think they got a lot for Gary Sanchez.
Oh, they did, but boy, desperate Brewers.
Desperate Brewers. Yeah, they would have played
looking for a backup catcher.
They would have played with a Johnny Bench batter up before they put Gary Sanchez back there.
So anyway, I
sadly enough, it's true, but
it seems to me that this was a legitimate thing with him, and I wish him and his wife good luck having kids. And
right. Well, it's ironic. I was going to say funny. Nothing's funny about it. It's ironic. The same exact thing happened, if you remember, a couple of years ago with Golden Tate. When he was on the Giants.
He went to the Dominican Republic?
He went to the Dominican Republic. No. Him and his wife were trying to have a baby. And the doctor put him on, here we get you. Exactly. The doctor put him on some sort of medication to motility. Who the hell knows? I don't know. But whatever. It was the same type of deal.
Wake up his lazy sperm.
Pretty much.
He went to the doctor and said,
he tested positive for PEDs.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was suspended for 4 games or whatever it was. He didn't fight it, but, it was whatever. So it was basically the same damn thing.
They went to the doctor. The doctor said, hey, let me let you know a little secret, buddy. You can't get pregnant being a catcher.
Right. It is very difficult. Although they are in the right position. More or less.
Know.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Well,
depends if you're a knee down or.
Well, I think
right.
Bill Cosby did a bit about his wife giving birth and all the breathing and things, and he says, and the doctor is sitting there like Johnny Bench.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could. I don't know.
Maybe,
well, anyway, good luck.
Hopefully, more like that.
Good luck to Pedro Severino.
There you go.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up is PitchCon.
PitchCon.
Oh, excuse me, Calm. PitchCon is a furry.
PitchCalm is a magnesium supplement that helps calm your pitcher.
PitchCon is like the little wristwatch thing or whatever that the catcher wears, and the pitcher has a thing in his hat, and they can send signals without doing any of this.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's a real thing.
Is it telepathy? Or is he whispering, or what is he doing?
They used it in, let's see, a lot of positive feedback, experimental usage in single A level last year, and in big league camps during spring training this year. It is now an optional, not required, but it is optional for major league teams to use this season. And apparently, people that are fans of it are really fans of it. All right, here's how it works.
Okay.
The catcher wears a forearm sleeve resembling a remote control, 9 buttons calling the pitch and location. The pitcher has a receiver in his cap, the catcher one in his helmet, and receivers can also be worn by up to 3 other fielders, like you might give your shortstop and your second baseman.
And one Altuve.
And one in the outfield so they can adjust their positioning.
And every Astros batter.
An encrypted channel can be used. This is great. In multiple languages, teams can also program in code words
Cobalt, Fortran,
pitch names such as fastball or curveball.
Vladimir Putin has already tapped into it and is selling his information to the Astros as we speak.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, the game loves this because there's no more going through the signs again. There's no more signs. It's just like, whoop, that's what we're going to do. I don't know, whatever. And we'll see. I don't know how many teams are going to use it, but I guess there was a couple that liked it. And again, some people who thought it was really good and part of the game. And, of course, this is all to keep players from stealing signs.
Sure.
So now there will be an IT person in every dugout.
Right. So now there'll be.
It'll be with 3 screens and exactly.
Listen, with the technology, probably the most valuable person in the clubhouse could be like, a 16-year-old kid who can hack into the other team's signal and send it straight to the batter. But
right.
I guess the question I wanted to raise is, sign stealing, it's not really cheating, right? If you can figure out the sequence, don't you deserve to be able to steal the sign? Isn't it just part of the game?
I think it's not cheating if you're a batter and you're figuring it out, or maybe if there's somebody else on base. But I think it's cheating. I think it's cheating if somebody that's not even in the game is stealing signs and then conveying that to the batter.
Yes, I agree. I'm talking about a guy on second base who's figured out the pattern and is giving it the old, to the batter. That's part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they want
that's definitely part of the game. That's why they give 17 different friggin' signs.
Right.
While they're giving the one, and
here's the reality.
And they change the sequence every time. They go out there.
Take that aspect out of the game, completely remove that because of fairness or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It just seems kind of. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. Like in
today's game,
you should be able to steal signs.
It's a 50-50 guess. You're either saying, is it a breaking pitch or a fastball?
Well, now here's the other fact of the matter too. And I said this back when the whole thing with the Astros came out too. Now, while it's wrong to, as Harry said before, to put a camera in the outfield and have somebody monitor it and figure it out, I can't do that. But just stealing the signs in any respect, whether it's somebody on second and however they're figuring out the sequence, whatever it is, they still have to hit the ball. Now, granted, they get an unfair advantage because they know which pitch is coming, but they still have to hit it, right? And it can be fielded. If every single time they know what pitch is coming, they're hitting a home run, then it's a little unfair. But, the bottom line is it's something that can be done on both teams. So, if it's part of the game, it's part of the game. The only thing I'm going to say is that if he has a keypad on his arm, on his sleeve that he's wearing, is the batter not allowed to look down? Because if he looks down, he'll see what button the guy's pushing.
Well, they're not supposed to do that anyway, right?
What if he
just have to glance down and see? And
what if he takes a foul pitch on the and accidentally orders DoorDash?
Or he gets hit on the pad, and then every pitch, all he can do is call a fastball. Because the other buttons are broken. Right? The pitcher's shaking him off.
He has to in between innings. He has to put his wristband in salt.
Right.
That's right.
Or rice.
He gets really sweaty. He's got to put it in rice to dry it out.
Are they going to sell these? The eye catch, the eye pitch,
the eye pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a little on the MLB. There's a story about it. There's a little picture of the thing. I guess you can pick the pitch and then the location. Listen, I love the technology aspect of it, but it seems like they're working awfully hard to get rid of something that's part of the game. Right.
Yeah, and will Aroldis Chapman listen even if it's in his ear? telling him what to
but
pitch.
is it a matter of Aroldis Chapman actually paying attention to the sign he's getting, or just not being able to pitch that pitch?
And you know what, John? What
Especially
you just
in
said,
October, yeah.
Right. Exactly.
The flip side of what you just said, John, is the guy still has to throw the pitch.
He still throw the pitch properly,
throw
not miss.
Right. He has to throw the pitch, where they want it. So,
he has to throw the pitch. They have to hit the ball. A sign is a sign. That doesn't. I mean, it's giving an advantage, but it's not 100% foolproof.
Right.
It's not like if you get the sign, you're hitting it out. It's not a foregone conclusion.
Right.
No.
That's almost a case for it then, for using the system.
Well, I'm glad we had nothing on baseball tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly. On that note, just to bring up last year, apparently we did not necessarily pick what we wanted the Mets record to be, the Yankees record to be, blah blah blah.
Oh, we didn't? I thought we did.
We picked the divisional winners and how many games they'd win. That's what we did.
Okay.
So for the NL East, Harry, you picked the Braves to win, but with 96 wins. So you were half right. Pete, you picked.
They had 192.
Right. Pete, you bet they had 88 wins. Pete, you picked the Braves at 97 wins. They had 88. I picked, of course, the Mets and 95 wins. Sound familiar? I did the same thing this year. Mets and 95 wins. All right.
It's like calling every pitch is going to be a home run. Eventually, you'll be right.
Eventually, I'll be right, yeah. Now, do you want to know the other divisions, or do you want to just know the Yankees or the AL East?
Give us the other divisions.
Yeah.
All right. The NL Central, Harry, you said, where'd it go? You said Cleveland was going to win with 85 wins.
The AL Central.
The NL Central is, I'm looking at the AL Central. I'm coming up here. You said Cardinals. You said the Cardinals were going to win with 85 wins. Pete, you said the Cardinals were going to win with 84 wins. I said the Cardinals were going to win with 87 wins. The Cardinals had 90 wins, and they didn't win. The Brewers won.
And that was with
wins.
like a 18-game winning streak.
And that was with an 18 or 19-game winning streak going into the end.
Whatever it was.
Exactly.
So we were all pretty close on what the Cardinals were going to do.
We were pretty close to the Cardinals, exactly. We just
Milwaukee
counted the Brewers. Yeah,
5 games better, yeah.
The NL West, whatchamacallit? We
all picked
Harry,
the
you said the Dodgers with 101 wins. Pete, you said the Padres with 99 wins. I said the Dodgers with 102. Dodgers obviously had 106 and did not win the division. Nobody counted.
None of us
Giants.
even considered.
Pretty good though.
We did pretty good.
I was only off by 20.
Yeah, well, you picked the Padres.
You were off by 20, yeah, exactly.
And they didn't win.
San Diego teams don't do well for you.
No, they do not.
It's time to stop looking at San Diego.
Or ex-San Diego teams.
Or former.
Yeah. It's anyone who's been through that city at some point, it just kind of rubs off and it's ruined for me.
Right. For the AL East, Harry, you picked the Yankees to win with 97 wins. Of course, we know they did not. They had 92 wins in third. Pete, you picked the Blue Jays to win with 96 wins. They had 91 and came in fourth. And I picked
the also-rans with 91.
Yeah, and I picked the Yankees with 96 wins. And they came in third with 92, obviously. Tied.
So we were way off.
We were way off in the AL East, yeah. The AL Central, Harry, you picked the White Sox to win with 92 wins. They won with 93.
Damn.
Pete, you picked the White Sox to win with 92 wins. They won with 93. And I picked the Twins to win with 93 wins. They had 73 wins. So I was 20 off with there.
And you were fucked.
I was way off there. And the AL West, Harry, you said the Astros with 90 wins. They won with 95. Pete, you said the A's with 89 wins, and they came in third with 86. And I said the A's with 91. So I would say overall, Harry and Pete, you probably did about the same. I was a little below you guys based on my Mets and Twins picks there, but so there you go. So that was last year.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Now, do you want to do that this year, or just stick with the Yankees and the Mets like we
Well,
like
I think
did.
we should. I think we should do the Rockies and the.
Right. Yeah. Now that they got Chris Bryant.
Sure. Let's do the Rockies. Harry.
I don't know.
Well, it's your team. It's your hometown team. So, give us your prediction for the Rockies.
What did the Rockies win last year?
They were 74-87.
Better than I think people thought they were going to be.
They were. Let's see.
Yeah, the Rockies were 74-87, fourth in the West, in the NL West.
I think the Rockies are going to win 75 games.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to go 76.
All right, I'm going 78.
Do we want to pick our division winners again?
Yeah, we can pick them. Let's finish this out like we did the others. What are they even getting a wild card?
No.
So that's it. So
Nope.
75, 76, 78, done. That's the Rockies. All right. So let's do divisional winners.
Should we do? We don't know who our Chicago fans baseball team is.
We don't. We could do both.
Should we do the White Sox and the Cubs?
Let's do the White Sox and the Cubs. Good.
All right.
So Rockies.
So let's see. They were White Sox at 93 last year. The Guardians are going to be, right. Who's the second best team in this division? Detroit, probably, or Minnesota?
From the
Detroit, I think, but I think
Detroit.
they're a 500 team.
Yeah.
Guardians are going to be shit this year.
Yeah, they're going to be shit.
I think the White Sox win 94 and the Cubs win 75.
I'll say White Sox 92 and the Cubs 73.
I'm going 93 for the White Sox and the Cubs 75. And obviously the Cubs are not making the playoffs. The White Sox will win the division. What do they do from there, though? How far do they get in the playoffs?
I think they go to the American League Championship Series.
Lose in it, though?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make it to the World Series.
Okay. So NLCS, ALCS. Pete?
They lost in the divisional series last year, right?
Yep.
I think they get one series past that this year.
No, I think they lose in the divisional series again.
Very, very well.
Okay.
I think they're going to beat the Astros.
There you go. All right.
If that's the matchup, I agree. That would be a more likely. But I don't know if that's going to be the matchup. So I'll pick him to lose.
All right. So there you go. All right. Let's start with Pete. Let's go around this way. Let's start with Pete. National League East, 2 wins. Who wins you want to do how many wins or just 2 wins?
Just 2 wins.
Who wins? Who wins the division? Who wins the NL East, Pete?
Atlanta.
ATL. Harry?
Yep.
Yeah, we all agree there. No, I don't. Kidding. Mets.
You're
picking Miami.
Yeah, exactly. Mets are winning. Mets win the division.
I think the Braves win 92 games, if you ask me. 93.
Well,
93 games.
I think the Braves are going to win 93 or 94 games, but I think the Mets are going to win 95.
There you go.
There you go. So you want to put that down? I'm saying 95. You said 93 games. And Pete?
I'll say 90.
90. They're winning the division with 90 games.
Could be.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. NL Central. Pete, kick it off.
I think I'll stick with Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And let's see, they won 95 last year, so I'll say the Cards needed a huge win streak to even get close. Of course, I know nothing about why is anybody in this division any better than they were last year?
No.
Yeah.
A lot of people are predicting the Cardinals, though, to be closer to what they were on that long streak than they were when
the Cardinals are going to be better. They're going to be closer to what they were at the end of the season than the beginning of the season last year. But the Brewers are just they're too good.
All right, Brewers 92 wins.
92. Harry?
Brewers 88. And I think they win by 1 game over the Cardinals.
Fair enough. I'm picking the Brewers with 93 wins. And Pete, kick us off for the NL West, please.
Let's see. Well, I was wrong last year, so I'll pick the Padres.
Eventually, you got to be right?
Well, I hate the Dodgers, and I don't care that much for San Francisco, and they're probably both going to be better. So
Padres and how many wins?
99.
Padres 99 wins. Wow. That's
now you know what?
98.
Strong. Make it 98.
98. All right. So 98. Harry.
Dodgers with 98.
All right. I'm going San Francisco Giants with 99. That's where I'm at.
Nice.
All right. Harry, kick us off with the AL East, please.
God, the AL East is going to be a bloodbath. I'm going Blue Jays 92 wins. I think it's going to be the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Red Sox, and the Yankees.
All right, fair enough.
The Red Sox and Yankees are just going to be battling it out for 3rd and 4th.
Fair enough.
Pete? Yeah, I like Toronto too, actually. I'm going to say 90. I think they win the division with 91.
91. I'm going out on a limb and saying the Red Sox 93 wins.
Not a bad choice.
Yep.
Red Sox 93 wins.
Didn't you just pick the Yankees that have 95 wins?
No, I picked the Yankees to have 90 wins.
How much? 90?
90.
Okay.
90.
I mean,
it's all going to be close. They're going to be all 4 of these teams are going to be within a game or 2 of each other.
Oh, okay.
So Blue Jays could have 92 wins, and the Rays could have 89 wins or 91 wins, or whatever.
How many wins did I pick the Yankees for?
You picked the Yankees to have 89 wins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there you go. And Harry, you picked them to have 88. So we're all a game apart. So it's going to be a close division, and like we said, it's not going to shock any of us for obviously a divisional winner, but all 3 wildcard teams come out of this division too. So there you go. All right, Harry, AL Central.
White Sox, maybe 94 wins. Here's where I think it's going to get interesting. Is I think the Twins are going to be in second, but I think it's going to be distant. I think they're going to be 12 games behind them.
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be that much. I don't think they're going to be in second place with 79 wins.
Well, if it's 94 minus 12, it'd be 82.
No, you said 91.
I said 94 for the White Sox.
Yeah, I thought you said 91.
No, 94.
94. Okay. And Pete?
White Sox, I'll say 96.
White Sox 96. I will take the White Sox, and I'll go 91. There must have been a reason I said that number. 91 wins for the White Sox. There you go. I do agree the Twins are going to be in second, though. I don't think it's going to be quite 12 games, but they're going to be in second. Yeah, because the Guardians, the Royals, and the Tigers are, they're going to be way back. So, all right. And Harry, American League West, please.
The Astros, I think they'll win 91 games.
All right. Pete?
I'll say Houston and 90.
All right. I agree with you. Houston 90. There you go. All right. And there we have it. That is we expanded or expound upon, if you will, the all the home teams, if you will, Mets, Yankees, Rockies, White Sox, and Cubs, as we've adopted them. And whatchamacallit? And then we made our picks for the season. Cool. All right. Sounds good. All right. I think that should do baseball. Harry.
Actually, I got one other thing.
One other thing. Go for it.
So I don't know if you realize this, and maybe it's amongst us not a big deal, but because Harry, you're a Yankee fan, and I don't know how many games you actually have access to.
Early on, all of them.
Okay. Well,
it's that free Major League Pass.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
They were on a lot last year.
Yankee games this year are going to be split between 3 different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have Yes, which has a whole lot of games. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of games on Apple TV, mm-hmm. which I guess has some Friday night games. So there's 2 Yankee games on Friday nights on Apple TV.
National games or?
Well, yeah, Apple TV, so you can get them anywhere. But you have to have Apple TV to watch.
But they will not be simulcast.
You won't see it on Yes. You won't see it on any other channel. You'll just see it on Apple.
And on top of that, they're taking all the games that used to be on Channel 11
and putting them on Facebook.
And they're putting them on Amazon.
Lovely. So no more Yankees on WPIX.
Right.
Or CW, whatever the hell it is now.
So now the 2 games that are on Apple TV on a Friday night, if you're a Yankee fan and you're used to watching all the games, you might go, okay, it's a couple of games. 21 games, though, that's a decent portion of the season here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not a Amazon Prime Video subscriber, you will not be able to watch those games.
Mm-hmm.
This just sucks.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, if you're trying to bring in,
if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Amazon Prime Video.
Right.
Yes.
And out of all of the services, the most obvious one to get Prime or to get the upgrade with is Amazon. I mean, the cost of Prime takes care of itself after you order one thing on Amazon. Now, I hate supporting Amazon. However, there's times where you just can't avoid it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, well, I guess
I'll take advantage of their streaming system.
I think Amazon, didn't they buy part of the Yankees or something?
I'm sure they did.
So there was but my point here is that, look,
why can't they deliver them a shortstop in a box in an hour?
If they're
for free,
free delivery.
It's over $35 or whatever it is. It's free delivery. Right. And they bring them in on a drone.
They actually did, but the Red Sox stole it off the front step.
Here's the thing, though. In baseball, they're trying to get younger viewers, right? Which conversely means the audience skews older.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're going to have, dare I say, people our age, maybe and older, who might even be less tech savvy than we are.
Right.
I consider myself somewhat tech savvy, but
I would hope so.
Or people on a fixed income. How much is Amazon Prime now?
You're going to have a lot of people,
$100-something bucks a year.
You're going to have a lot of older people sitting down to watch the Yankees
on Channel 11
and wondering what the hell's going on.
And it's going to be,
and Heidi's going to be on.
How many games? How many games last year were on?
We play the Bowery Boys from 1952.
Not that many. I mean, it's
21.
Really, but 21.
Yeah.
Okay. So 21 games
out of how many are
out of 162?
Okay, but I'm saying if you're a Yankee,
so there's there's 2 games on Apple.
It's the Yes Network. TV. Everybody has the Yes Network to watch the Yankees,
except for those games that are on Apple TV or on Amazon Prime, which the PIX games I think were simulcast on Yes last year, but now that they're on Amazon Prime,
they're not.
All part of the deal.
Right.
My point is, you can have 40 years Yankee fans. They've been Yankee fans for 40 years. And they watch every game, and this is a big portion of their life. And now you're going to tell them, well, you're going to miss 20 games unless you shell out $100 or whatever.
Here's my take on it.
For a service that they don't use, and don't use for anything else.
Right.
Okay, hold on.
Now you're going to ask them to pay another $100 to watch Yankee games.
The Apple TV thing is bullshit because Apple TV. There's been tons of things that have been on there, and I still say fuck you to Apple TV. I don't even know what it is. Okay. Here's the thing.
It's like anything else. It's just
it's
you don't even have to have the device. You just need.
I get it.
You just need the app.
It's too expensive. Fuck it. Here's the thing. For somebody like me who would love to watch the Yankees all the time, but can't get the Yes Network without, having a satellite dish.
Right.
This is okay to me because you have to remember the Yankees are still going to be on TBS and ESPN Game of the Week and whatever other Fox Game of the Week. There's still going to people.
They're all simulcast games that are on for national games or whatever. And
the difference is that if I don't have to buy the Major League Baseball package to watch the Yankees, and I can get even 21 extra games a year as someone who doesn't live in the New York metro area on something I already have, such as Amazon Prime, I'm okay with that. My thing, though, is that it shouldn't take away from those people who are already watching it on the Yes Network. Now, the Yes Network is still technologically a step different than WPIX or WOR used to be for the Mets fans, where you just turn on, your local TV station. Most people our age or older still have cable.
Right.
Okay. They're not trying to figure out, on a Fire Stick and to bring up Hulu to watch their sports. They're still getting it on cable. So I think that it's wrong that the Yes Network is losing games in lieu of trying to get this. But I think it's great that something as ubiquitous, let's face it, Amazon Prime, most people have Amazon Prime on their television. Even people that have cable have, it's right there. And they do watch a lot of things on Amazon Prime because they're already paying for it to get their, kitchen sponges delivered to their front door.
Right.
So,
and hopefully they don't get delivered and the doorbell rang.
I would much rather see that expand.
Home run gets hit.
Then it gets sprinkled through, these games are on Hulu. This is on this, because it's just all a ploy for you to get rid of cable and then have 17 different subscriptions that all wind up costing you more than cable.
More than the cable did in the first place. Right. Exactly. So fair enough. I agree with both of you because you both.
And I'll tell you, as a sports watcher, it's the only reason why I still have cable television. It's the only reason.
Pretty much.
Because not having cable television and trying to watch sports is not easy.
Anything that I watch on regular television or anything that's on cable, and I know cable I have Fios, but any same shit.
Yeah.
But anything that I watch other than sports, I can watch elsewhere. I can get an app or two and watch any of those things elsewhere than regular TV. So the only reason, honestly, that I still have my, cable / Fios, whatever I have, is sports. All the sports channels and the sports packages that I have.
Here's another thing I would say. If it means that I can watch it while it's not live, in other words, watch it the day after, or if it's somewhere I can get it on demand, I'm all for that.
I don't think it's going to be, though.
No, I know it's not.
Yeah, those Amazon Prime shows, they're live only. They're not canned.
I know.
They're streamed. They stream live, and that's it. They're gone.
Well, so. I will let you guys both know that the hindrance to watching television, especially live television in general,
right,
and sports, is without cable is, yes, exactly. It's all over the place, and you need a bunch of streaming services to get, what you want to watch. The hindrance is, well, it's very easy to do that illegally.
Yes.
It's really easy.
If you're 17 and you know how to do it. I don't know how to do it.
And it's really cheap.
Yeah.
And I speak from personal experience. Because I can watch anything I want for $8. $8 a month.
You just pay some guy on the corner? Or?
Well, yeah,
we'll have to talk.
Emerson Boozer rigs his.
However, there are certain risks that go along with that. So to me, if you don't have Amazon, you shouldn't be forced to get it. So that you can.
No, nobody's forcing you to get it.
If you want to watch these 20 games, now it's easy for us to go, so don't watch the 20 games. But if that's your life, I mean, just think about the uproar every couple of years, especially with the Yes Network and SNY, right? And ESPN to a certain extent, when it's time to renegotiate with the cable companies, right? And there's always the standoff, and sometimes the channel goes out for a while, and all the propaganda ads. The cable companies want to raise your rates, and they want to charge us more to be on their blah blah blah.
Well, it's not even that; it's the agreements with the cable.
Right,
company.
that's what I mean. It's
I can't watch the Nuggets this year because the Nuggets and the Avalanche have not been on cable television for 2 years in Denver.
Because
to make it worse is that when the Nuggets or Avalanche are on certain other national channels, then it's blocked out.
They black out you because you're local.
Now
There's so
they
many
both have
games
their own,
that I can't watch.
They both have their own networks, right? The teams have.
Well, it's the Altitude Sports Network, but
Okay.
so it's the network working out a deal with the cable provider.
Right, and that's what happens. And here,
so it's available, but not not to your cable provider. Basically, is what you're saying.
Well, and there's only one, so yeah. There's to the cable.
So where
provider.
is it? So if it's a part of the Altitude
Dish Network.
So that's the only way you could do it at this point.
Or I'm sure through other
DirecTV or whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. You've got the other.
Do they have their own app? Because SNY, I know, and Yes have apps that you can actually. Well, SNY doesn't, but Yes does. Has an app.
You've already lost me. My life.
You can download the app to Smart TV.
So fucking frustrated that if I need to sign into an app to watch a basketball.
Well, you sign in once and then it's always on, so you can just go to it and boot it up.
But then you start to get into what Harry was just saying. Well, now you got the Yes app, and now you got the Avalanche.
Oh, I agree 100% for that. But at least for these games, for Nuggets games.
And if every team had an app and I could watch every game and you could pick and choose, I'm all for that. If it's easy enough to use, and a lot of people would like that because then you could stare at your phone and watch it. You know,
right?
I get it, but
hopefully not while you're driving.
Well, people do.
That's my point.
I don't know. I think it sucks. I think it sucks to be spreading these games out, and again,
younger people will say though that I don't have a TV, so I can't get WPIX. I can't get the Yes Network.
They want to watch on their PlayStation 4 or their phone. Yeah.
Well, even worse than that is, what about those people who maybe they don't have cable TV? Maybe they live in the city, right? And if you just
most people under the age of 40 do not have cable television anymore.
If you live in New York City and you have a decent antenna, there's a bunch of channels you can get, including all the networks.
People aren't watching television. They might have television.
Maybe let's say not younger people. Let's say older people.
See, yeah,
right? They're in their rent-controlled apartments. They're on a fixed income.
So they weren't watching the Yankees anyway.
Well, they used to be able to watch 21 games on picks. Now there's none.
Yeah,
because they don't have cable and they don't have Apple TV. Those are the people. Like
they have a VHS tape of the '98 World Series.
Yeah, but I mean, why does Yes want to?
98. We're talking about somebody in their late 70s. They have a VHS tape of the '77 World Series. Get it straight.
Sure, there's no VHS tape of that.
Well, all right, beta.
78 was barely good.
They have a Super 8 film reel of the '77 World Series.
I'm just saying, why does Yes want to screw those people over, even if it's just for 20 games?
I don't know.
Just because.
Who knows? There's 27 consultants who told them this is what they need to do.
I guess so.
Yeah, so. All right. On that note, we're going to wrap up baseball. This is new. We're going to wrap up baseball with the quiz because the quiz is baseball.
Oh, it's baseball.
Baseball. We're moving into baseball. We're keeping the top 10 list of sorts, if you will. Is remaining basketball for a while, but we're moving into baseball for the quiz. So we're going to wrap up baseball with the quiz before we kick off anything else. Here we go. All right. Tell me when you're ready.
I got my pen in my pad.
All right. This week's quiz is Major League Baseball pitchers, current pitchers. I'm giving you 6. 4 got to stay. 2 got to go. Who you keeping? Here we go. Jacob deGrom. Max Scherzer. Corbin Burns. Garrett.
Like you're paging him at the airport.
Corbin Burns. Come to the white desk, please.
Corbin Burns.
Corbin Burns. Jeter. Derek Jeter. Garrett Cole. Garrett Spider Tack Cole. Zach Wheeler. And dealer. Zach Wheeler. And to wrap it up, Walker Buehler.
Bueller. Interesting.
Cole, Walker Buehler. So Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole, Zach Wheeler, and Walker Buehler.
So I'm starting a team and I'm picking my 4 pitchers?
You're picking your 4 pitchers, Peter. Tell me who they are.
All right, I'll take DeGrom.
You sound so confident in that.
Well, you know what? This could be the beginning of
all right.
Injury.
Hold on. These 6 pitchers.
Oh, in their prime?
There's prime, no issues.
Oh, not right now.
Not this minute because one of them's on the injured list and somebody has a tweaked hand.
I think it's easier. I know what you're saying, but this year, I would say, who would you pick for this year?
Well, no, it's the pitcher as the pitcher as what they can do as them. So
no, I don't know.
You can't say okay they might get an injury, they might not. That's not what this list is about.
But for this year, what their best potential is right now.
Sure, why not?
Okay,
all right. So speaking of guys who can't stay healthy. Well, but Zach Wheeler's not on the Mets anymore, so he's good. He might not get the opening day. I think I read
a lot of people are picking him to be a Cy Young candidate this year.
Yeah, I know. Nah, he's gone.
All right,
Wheeler's gone, and Scherzer's 57 years old. Got to break down sometime, and he's on the Mets, so that means it should be this year. But I'm going to keep him because he's a warrior. Mm-hmm. Is Corbin Burns related to Monty Burns?
Maybe. He's. I
should say Cole because he's a Yankee.
He's the best pitcher on the Brewers staff right now. So that's what
I'll get rid of Cole because he's a Yankee.
All right, there you go. So you're keeping
JD, Max, Corbin, and Walker Buehler.
All right, Harry.
Well, the top 5 pitchers in baseball, I think, are DeGrom, Scherzer, Burns, Cole, and Buehler.
Fair enough.
So I'm keeping all 5 of them because I can't pick between Walker, Buehler, and Garrett Cole.
So you're definitely picking DeGrom, Scherzer, and Burns.
Fine, but I get Vlad Guerrero Jr. then.
That's fine. Hey, look, I think Wheeler has the potential to be great. I think he's top 10. I think right now, I hate to project things, but Garrett Cole, who's better, Garrett Cole or Walker Buehler?
Walker Buehler.
Yeah. So those are my top 4: DeGrom, Scherzer, Burns, and Buehler. I'll go to battle with them in the playoffs. This
is, as far as I can remember, the first time the two of you have agreed on all 4 picks in the quiz.
Because Pete didn't hate anybody illogically.
Well,
maybe Garrett Cole.
Maybe Garrett Cole, yeah. So,
I hope.
But I'll say this.
I hope I'm wrong about Cole. Let's just say
I knocked him off because of the spider tack, not just because he's a Yankee.
Gotcha.
All right. Open for consideration because of the team he plays for. But.
Well, you know what? This year's going to be this is going to be a telltale year for him because it's the whole year. There's no excuses with all of that. He's had time off. He's pitched the last year. He ramped up this year, so forth and so on. So,
he's still a good pitcher. He's not some hump who was only good with spider tack. I don't think that's the case.
If he's up there, in rotations as far as all over the league and everything else, then fine. But if he's really fallen off after this year too, then it's kind of the proof in the pudding there. What was working for him.
The other 2 people, I mean, Brandon Woodruff might be better this year, and Julio Urias, however you say it.
Urias.
If he continues what he did at the end of last year, he might be better than Walker Buehler and Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's possible. So, all right, cool. Well, there you go.
And I'm picking Scherzer mostly because of his consistency in the playoffs. I think Scherzer during the year is always a little like this, but he's been a lights out pitcher in the playoffs. I think he's got one more year left in him. But
well, for the Mets, I hope too. But he's got 3 years.
He's got at least one more year left in him.
Let's hope it's 2. All right.
That's what the Lakers said about LeBron.
This is true. So all right, let's move on to just a little bit of football.
Oh God.
There's a couple of things I just want to point out, and Pete has something to bring up too. So let me rattle through these.
I got 4 football wins.
Oh wow! I thought it was 1.
But they're all short stories.
There you go. The worst point differential for teams since 2016. All right. I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's the bottom 5 when you look at it like that. Raiders are minus 433 points. The Browns are minus 488. The Jags are minus 491. The Giants are the second worst team in point differential since 2016 with 504, only 13 points less than the Jags. And the worst team in point differential since 2016?
The New York Jets.
The New York Jets. And you want to venture what their point differential was?
6-12.
Keep in mind the Giants were number 2 at 5, or second worst at minus 504.
It's minus 612.
Pete.
Minus 589.
Minus 817.
Whoa. Wow. Running away from the pack.
Oh, yeah. They took that one way out in front, that one.
Wow.
Well, if you're going to be
Makes
number
Russell
1 at
Westbrook
something,
feel
be
good.
number 1.
Be number 1, exactly.
It's hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very difficult. So, all right. You one of the we were talking the other week about still free agents still sitting out there. We mentioned that Bobby Wagner still had no team. He got picked up. If you saw, he is now a member of the Rams.
The Rams are going to be the they're gonna give long-term contracts to every player who everybody thinks is long past their prime.
Exactly. And do you see what he said though?
No.
He said signing with the Rams. When asked about signing with the Rams, he said playing the Seahawks twice a year was the cherry on top. You all know where I'm at, and I'll tell them it won't be a quiet game. So clearly, bad feelings about not being able to stay where he's played for so many years and wanted to finish out his career there. So little upset the man was. So and the only other thing on football I have is that the Giants are restructuring, I should say, contracts. They restructured Adoree Jackson's. They restructured Sterling Shepard's. Sterling Shepard said, they wanted me here. I wanted to be here. If everything goes the way I hope it goes, hopefully I'll be here for a little bit longer.
Well, maybe do something.
That wouldn't be a bad idea when you come right down to it. So, yeah. And that's that's pretty much it.
I think Sterling Sharp had more catches than Sterling Shepard last year.
He did. And I got that question, but I want Pete to go first. And the only other thing I wanted to say, cap space for every NFL team. All right. Mm-hmm. The team with the highest cap space right now, today. This is as of today. Carolina Panthers have $30,016,170. So a little over $30 million in cap space. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is the Colts with $22 million and change. Houston Texans also have $22 million. Browns at number 4, $21 million and change, and the Saints at number 5 with $21 million and change. The worst teams, the lowest cap space. The Giants are the 3rd lowest. I thought they were the lowest, but they obviously picked that up a little bit because of some of the cuts they made and restructuring and everything else. The Giants have $738,000 in cap space right now. They need about $12 million for the draft. So they don't have that right now. So obviously they got to do some restructuring and probably cut James Bradbury before the draft in order to be able to sign the class. And obviously the practice squad and everything else.
His science fiction writing should help him out along the way there.
Maybe a little bit. The 2 worst teams right now with the least amount of cap space, The New England Patriots have minus $20,000 in cap space. You're $20,000 upside down in the cap. And the worst team,
Dallas.
the Buffalo Bills, with $1.2 million under. They're over the cap, $1.2 million. Yeah.
You think they could lower some people's salaries since they can buy a house in Buffalo for like $65?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think they could probably do that. Wouldn't be
a little more cheaply there.
All right, Peter, give us your football stuff.
Okay, so I didn't know if you heard this, but Blake Bortles has been released by the Saints.
He has been. I'll pick him up.
Blake Pennington Bortles.
Yeah. Hey, come on. Blake Bortles is by far no Chad Pennington.
No, he is not.
So
don't even go there.
Looks like Winston and a little more Dalton time for the Saints.
Well, maybe he'll go to one of those minor league football teams we discovered are out there.
Maybe. Also visiting
the women's
is
it's going to identify as a female.
Right.
Is it Mateo?
Mm-hmm.
Mateo, yeah.
Had a visit with the Saints, so be interesting if he ends up there. And Rob Gronkowski not ready to commit to his decision on.
Should have waited till the very last minute.
Well, why not just say I'm going back to the Bucs?
Because he's Gronk.
Well, he wanted to go to the Bengals, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what he said.
When Brady wasn't there.
After Brady retired, he wanted to go to Bengals. Yeah,
he got hit. He doesn't remember which team he played.
Well, he lives in Brady's backyard in the shed, so I mean, he's
Yeah.
kind of got to get a ride to work. So
he committed to the porno convention this year, which is right in the middle of the season. So.
He's good on those insurance company commercials, though.
Oh, does he do insurance company commercials?
Well, it's like this.
Not the general.
No. It's for the military.
Oh, I have seen those. You're right.
Yeah, he's pretty good at them.
Right.
For goofball. Anyway, the Patriots and Dolphins officially announcing that
merger.
Devontae Parker is going to New England.
Merger.
The New England Dolphins. The porpoises of Central Florida.
So Mac and Cheese is going to have another weapon there in New England, and Tonga Bailoa will not.
Well, there you have it.
So, anyway, Patriots getting a 5th round pick this year, and the Dolphins will get a 3rd round pick next year.
Okay.
So there you go. Anyway, that's official. We kind of knew that was coming, I guess, or some people thought it was all but a done deal. All right, what I really wanted to talk about, though, is the other day, the predictions for the win totals came out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they did.
Which is funny because we haven't even had the draft.
The draft hasn't even happened yet, and there's still free agents out there.
So I just wanted
OTAs just started. OTA started yesterday.
Yeah.
This list came out before
team
activities did. Yeah.
So I just wanted to go over our 4 home teams and not even really talk about it a lot or at all, really. And then after the draft, I want to see. I sent you a link in the chat to the web from profootballnetwork.com. And I think these are the Vegas odds because I looked up a couple other websites and they were all the same. And then after the draft, we can see where they're at then. The numbers, how they change. Mm-hmm. So for our intents and purposes, the New York Jets are 5.5. The only team lower than them is Houston.
Yep.
In the AFC. Bills are on top at 11.5, et cetera, et cetera. And who else do we have to cover on this? Nobody, right?
On the AFC?
Oh, Denver is at 10.
Yeah. Denver's only a game and a half.
Yeah.
You got Bills at 11.5, Chiefs at 10.5, then the Chargers and Broncos tied at 10. Over.
And the Jets at 5.5. So
there you go.
I think the Broncos will win 10 games.
I think that's a safe bet to say that the Broncos will win more than 10 games. In a 17-game season, the Broncos will win more than 10 games, yes.
Yeah. NFC totals, let's see. We got the Giants at 7.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Chicago Bears at 6.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Does it shock anybody that the Cowboys are 10.5?
No, I mean, I think the Cowboys will have a great regular season again.
Well, the Rams are at 10.5 too.
The Rams are at 10.5.
Which was a little puzzling to me, but
Mm-hmm.
but again, we'll revisit these after the draft. I just wanted to mention it because it's the ridiculousness of putting these out now, but I want to see how much they change after the draft. So
yeah, well, we'll definitely have to revisit this after the draft. Absolutely, we'll bookmark this page and come back to it and bookmark it right now. But over here on this one, and bookmark, and we're gonna put it in right here. Done.
And that's all I had for football.
There you go. All right. I have one other thing. I want to ask you guys a question. This list came out. No, it's not where I want to put it. I just need to put it. Hold on. There we go. All right. Page is bookmarked. There we go. All right. So here's the thing I want to ask you. This came out the other day, or this was posted the other day. I just wanted your opinion on it. Where'd it go? It is right here. Here we go. I want your opinion. All right. Just think about it for a second and then give me your opinion. Who is the greatest running back that played from anywhere between 2000 to now? So in the last 21, 22 seasons. From 2000, this century, 2000 to now, who is the greatest running back that has played during that time? I'm going to read you a couple of these responses, too. It's pretty interesting.
Was this something that was posed on the web?
NFL on Fox posted this on Instagram yesterday. So, who is the greatest running back that has played during from 2000 to 2020 through 2021? Current.
Derrick Henry.
Greatest running back that played during that time.
I think so.
Okay, Pete.
Henry's certainly got to be
2000 to 2020?
2000 to 2021.
Okay.
So it goes all the way back to 2000, this century. So 22 seasons ago till now.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe LT?
All right. I figured you might go there. My response is Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, that was my first thought. Yeah.
Mine is Adrian Peterson. Now,
okay, yeah. I'm trying to get my head around 2000. Okay.
Yeah. And it goes back a ways. Obviously, you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go way back. I mean, Tiki Barber was still playing for the 5
Clinton
years.
Portis.
Yeah. Clinton Portis, sure. There's been a lot of great running backs.
Who was the guy on the Ravens?
Ray Rice?
Well, no.
Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis.
Yeah. And there were some guys that had.
I mean, you got to kind of put Tiki up there, right?
What about Kansas City? Priest Holmes?
Priest Holmes, sure.
And there was another guy. Who was the other
Priest
guy?
Holmes was done, wasn't he, by that time?
He was. No. He played in the 2000s. I mean, he played before the 2000s, but he played in the 2000s too.
Yeah, I'm gonna change. Yeah, I wasn't thinking. I think LaDainian Tomlinson is right.
Yeah, the most there was 2,243 comments as of this afternoon, and the majority, I didn't scroll through all every comment, obviously, but the majority of the ones that I saw as I scrolled through, kind of on a quick basis, a little bit of it anyway, was the majority were either Adrian Peterson or LaDainian Tomlinson.
Who's the guy on Indianapolis?
Right now?
No. He's
Edgerrin
retired
James.
now, but he played.
Edgerrin James?
Edgerrin James.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He had to.
Hey,
in the 2000s alone, probably had 50, 60 touchdowns.
What about beast mode?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
not his numbers were nowhere near as good as James or Tomlinson though.
No,
or even Tiki.
Right. Yeah, you got to put Tiki in there.
And was he as good as Sean Alexander in the 2000s?
Right. Yeah, Sean Alexander was a great running back. There's a lot of great running backs in the last 22 seasons. There's a lot of great running backs. I personally think that the top two are definitely Adrian Peterson and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, you're right though about Priest Holmes.
Yeah,
he was just a touchdown machine. A lot of it receiving too. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And there was another guy from Kansas City. Was it? Yeah, Larry Johnson? No, not Larry. Was Larry Johnson? I don't know.
Larry Johnson. He played basketball too.
Yeah,
he did. Larry Johnson was a running back for the Chiefs.
I mean, but he had like 2 great years.
Was that before or after he dressed up as grandmama?
Oh, that was after.
After. Sure. Yeah. But just had to make sure of that. Okay, so this is what I'm going to ask. I think we should. I don't want to take time. I think we'll do it, because we're going to be obviously talking football a little bit, obviously, for the next couple of weeks with the draft and everything else. But when we talk about draft, the week of the draft show, so that's the 3 weeks from tomorrow.
Oh, I'm out that day.
Whatchamacallit? I'd like to revisit this, and each of us come up with the top 5.
Top 5.
That. Top 5.
Running
our
backs,
own top 5.
Since 2020?
Since 2020.
Since 2000 to 2020?
Since 2000 through 2021. 2000 through now.
Okay.
All right. Each of us have our own top 5. And we don't have to get in. We're not going to do like we do the top 10 list. Give all the stats and all that stuff. Just rattle off the names. Each of us give our own top 5 while we're talking about football that day. That's all.
Wait, what?
Each of us give our own top 5 for the greatest running backs of the last 22 seasons since 2000.
You got to give consideration, I guess, to the idiot on Dallas.
I don't, actually.
Yeah.
Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett was no idiot. I don't think what's his name is going to make anybody's list. The Giants' current running back.
So top 5 running backs from 2000 to now.
2000 to now. Top 5 running backs 2000 to now. We'll each do our own top 5.
Okay.
We'll do it 3 weeks from tomorrow. So the 27th we'll do that. That'll be the draft. That's going to be the draft show. We'll talk about that anyway. So the draft show. Foreshadowing the draft show. So
he's no Sean Alexander, but
he's no Sean Alexander or Sean Green.
I'm gonna have some fun. Oh, Harry, you're gonna lose your brain.
I can't wait.
What? How? Where's the logic? Did you even look up a stat?
Steven Jackson's gonna be.
Who was Sean Green?
Sean Green, yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Green. I actually have a Sean Green jersey. I'm gonna wear it.
They're all gonna be Jets.
Yeah. Well, at least you got one right.
Steven Jackson was another guy. He played for like the Rams and didn't he win a Super Bowl with the Patriots? I don't know. Jamal Lewis.
Yeah.
How about Maurice Jones-Drew?
Sure.
I don't know if I would think he was one of the greatest, but
he's very good. I don't know if he'd be in my top 5, but he definitely is very.
Yeah, not top 5, but.
Yeah. So he's a good analyst too. He's on the NFL Network on Good Morning Football and a couple other shows too. He does a pretty damn good job too on that as a commentator. All right, so we'll do that on the 27th. All right, I think that'll wrap up football. What do you think?
Okay.
Harry, you have anything on football?
I'm trying to think of somebody's name, but it'll come to me. Oh, Deuce McAllister.
Deuce McAllister.
Oh, and
Larry Johnson, by the way, played for the Chiefs from 2003 to 2009. Played for the Bengals in 2009. The team formerly known as the Washington Redskins in 2010, and the Miami Dolphins in 2011.
There you go.
Yeah, I was looking at his stats before. He had like 2 1,700-yard seasons for Kansas City back to back. And a few other good years, but those are.
Are the Colts the team throughout history who have the most underrated, overachieving running backs in the history of the NFL?
I believe they probably are.
We forget about Joseph Adai. It's just like I don't know.
Yeah. LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, they
Colts,
were never,
mind you, that was Philly.
They were never
Buffalo,
like the first name. The running backs were never the first name that you thought of when you think of the Colts.
No,
in that era.
Ron Dane.
Sure. Tyrone Wheatley.
Ron Dane, the greatest gopher ever.
T.J. Duckett.
Jared Bunch.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
We got Thunder and we got other Thunder.
How about David Wilson? He was a first-round pick, I think.
David Wilson was. He was a great running back. It's a shame that he had to cut his career short with that. You know,
21 games only.
Yeah, he was really good.
With 327 yards in one game in 2012.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So,
ooh, man.
All right.
Is anyone other than
LT?
Sorry, are we going to NBA now?
I think we're going to NBA. We're not anything else, right?
Nope.
All right, there we go.
All righty. Cornbread man. Oh, sorry.
Cornbread McAllister, is that what you're saying? Is that he played back in the 30s, didn't he?
Right.
Oh, how about Rashaan Salam?
That was 90s.
That was the 90s.
Oh yeah, I guess it
was the 90s. That was most of the ones we mentioned.
He was on the CU Buffs team that I think won a national championship, or went. Yeah, he played with he's as far back as what's his name? The guy who played for CU back with the guy who went to the Steelers as a quarterback. The Hail Mary pass against Nebraska.
Oh crap! Who was that? Shit, it'll come to me.
Went to the Steelers as a quarterback.
Went to the Steelers as a quarterback.
Cordell Stewart.
Yeah. I see the number 10. I couldn't come up with the name.
Because you were looking at the front, not the back.
This is true. This is very true.
All right, now what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about some basketball, a little basketball.
Fantastic.
Just a little bit. So, do we want to start it out with the top 10 list, and then wrap up some talk of getting into the playoffs and all of that, or do we want to do it the opposite way?
Let's start with the top 10 list.
Let's start with the top 10. All right. So let's put this up here. Tonight's top 10 list, obviously, we've been doing the top 10 teams of all time.
By the way, we're the only sports program that exists today that had more talk about the backup catcher for the Minnesota Twins than the NCAA Final Four.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Just saying. Yeah. I love how we always just suck people in with the top story of the day.
Our top story tonight.
Called human interest, Mr. Stats.
There you go.
I just thought it was a nice story. The guy's trying to have a baby.
It's not. I'm not. It's nothing against you. It's just
no, because I brought it up.
I just think maybe next week we could start with like the top story and then work our way down.
Why would we want to do what everyone else
Pete's
does?
By the way,
if you want to throw in a couple of top stories as far as some pictures, I got to throw these up really quick right now. I found these
Pete's by the way.
I found these on somebody's Facebook page, mind you. So I actually had to pull them down and use them. Harry, you may recognize them. I'll leave it at that. All right, this is actually apparently this is actually what actually happened at the Grammys at the Academy Awards last week. It was not any violence. This was what was going on right there. So
that's right.
they were playing jazz. All right.
Of course.
All right. So Will Smith on bass, Chris Rock on sax.
They were doing a Rufus Reed cover.
They were doing a Rufus Reed cover. Yes, they were. So
that's
it was pretty. It was pretty good too. But they cut that out and made
slap
it look
in the bass.
Slap in the
bass and slap in the bass.
There you go. So that was that. And then I just had to put this up. Not that it has anything to do with anything, but I just found it amazing and really funny. I'll read it. I'm going to put this up really quick. Okay. So one ad says, "Wanted someone to go back in time with me. This is not a joke. P.O. Box 1004-1557 4th Avenue, Prince George, British Columbia." And the whatever the country code or whatever it is.
V2L 3K1. Yeah.
Thank you. You'll get paid after we get back. Must bring your own weapons. Safety not guaranteed. I have only done this once before.
I would at least ask for half up front.
Exactly.
No. I think I would go.
Yes, if you'd like to follow these and other fine stories at Log Noise at Instagram.
Exactly.
Wait, can you put that back up? I get the whole code.
Yeah,
sure. Take it. Go for it.
3K1. Okay, cool. I'm good. I'm ready. I'll let you know how it works out.
You guys aren't that far from British Columbia. You can.
I got to sneak into Canada. We can't get in.
You can get in now.
Oh, can we?
Yeah, if you're vaxxed and waxed, you can get in.
Oh, all right.
Vaxxed and waxed. You gotta be waxed too, and they check. So,
and now that I've joined Pete's OnlyFans, I can tell you that I don't know about the vax, but
you can guarantee the wax is true.
Every week I'm getting waxed.
There you go.
By the way, the Severino story, it was a nice story about a guy who broke the rules, apparently accidentally, and just admitted it and didn't hem and haw and go, "Oh, it wasn't me."
My problem is not with the story. My problem is not with any of our stories. The problem is that we always bury the most pressing. The thing that everybody else is talking about in sports, we never talk about.
Right. But still, what was the number? It was during the baseball segment. What was the number one baseball story?
My problem is not with the story. Right. My problem is that we start with baseball every week.
We should have started with the Final Four because that was the most current topic of going on, obviously.
Oh, that was days ago. I've even forgotten already who won.
It was hours ago. It was day ago.
It was only the second biggest comeback in NCAA finals history.
We're going to get there. Everything in its place, right? This being the Major League Baseball kickoff show, obviously, with the baseball season starting this Thursday. We started with baseball, but what are you going to do? All right, let's get going with basketball. Let's kick it off with our top 10 list. Our top 10 list tonight, as we have been doing, is top 10
necessarily
teams.
It's
not a top 10 list. It's a top list of basketball teams of all time. So we do first team by position, second team by position, and then four reserves, and that's what we do every week. So tonight for you, we have top 10 Boston Celtics of all time. Top Boston Celtics of all time. Technically, if we just categorize it to the first and second teams by position, it would be top 10. But top Boston Celtics of all time. So we're going to kick it on off. I'll read the names, and you guys can chat about them as we go. Here we go.
We'll talk about
at the same time. Just talk right over.
Talk about Severino.
Yeah, exactly. So kicking it off, we're going to start with our first team point guard. That would be Mr. Bob Cousy. Robert Joseph Cousy, to be exact. So there you go. Our first team shooting guard would be John Havlicek. Our first team small forward, as Pete put it when we voted, would be Duh. So, and that would be Mr. Larry Bird. There you go. By the way, John Havlicek's middle name is Joseph, in case you mind. So, Larry Joe Bird.
How tall was Larry Bird?
Larry Bird is 6'9" tall.
Yeah, okay, small.
And he might be shorter now, but he was then. So,
he's as big as he was the same height as Dave Cowens.
There you go.
Playing center.
The Hick from French Lick and Larry Legend. There you go. Larry Bird, our first team small forward. Our first team power forward, we have Kevin McHale. Kevin Edward McHale. And our first team center would be, of course, Mr. Bill Russell. William Felton Russell, to be exact.
Gentlemen, if Bill Russell ever went to the Dominican Republic to seek fertility treatment.
He may have. Probably not. I'm going to say
probably not, right?
I didn't think he needed to. Yeah.
Doesn't Bill Russell have like 10 kids or something? Or maybe he was one of 10 kids?
One for every ring.
One for, yeah.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, that means he has 11 kids. So there you go. I'm trying to look really quick. He doesn't say. 12 years old. It does not say.
Well, you keep going. I'll do some research.
Does that
All right,
matter?
so there you go. All right, so let's chatter about our first team here. So Bob Cousy, John Havlicek, Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Bill Russell.
I mean, geez, what a dominant team. I will say this. Mm-hmm. Havlicek, yes, he did play shooting guard. He was, though, for the majority of his career, a small forward. So, if you had to pick between John Havlicek and Larry Bird, it's not that easy. But imagine them playing together, and they're both in their prime. This would be just an unbelievable team. I mean, look, all Hall of Famers, right?
Right. Yeah.
The entire starting lineup is all Hall of Famers. I will say this. I struggled a little bit with Kevin McHale as the starting power forward, but I wound up going with him. So I think we all agreed on the starting five, right?
We all agreed on the starting five, yes.
Yeah. So,
yes, we did.
Pretty incredible list of players there. I mean, I think all in the top 100 and of all time, right? I think all in the top 75 of all time. So that's pretty impressive.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. Pete?
And Bill Russell also won one as a player coach.
Yeah.
He won a championship as a player coach. How many combined championships between these guys? How many didn't Kuzi win 8? Russell won 11. Bird won 2. McHale won 2. And Havlicek won 2. That's a lot.
That is a lot. Yeah. What was it? Let's. Bob Cousy won.
I think it was 8. 6. Okay.
6. Havlicek won 8.
Okay, that's what it was. Havlicek was 8.
Larry 3. Kevin McHale won 3, and Bill Russell won 11. So there you go. So
that's
3-3.
47.
6, yeah. 3-3-6 is 14, 20, 31. 31 between the starting 5. 31 championship.
Is it out of line to say that John Havlicek is kind of underappreciated in the annals of this discussion? Yeah, I mean it's crazy, but that's anyway. Great. I mean, so far, you put this team up against that first Lakers team, you got yourself a hell of a game.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, this was these were all kind of McHale was maybe the only one that there was any question for, but we were all on the same page with this, and the others were just no doubt,
no brainers.
Yep, no brainers.
Second team, Sir John.
Second team. You want to read them?
No.
All right, I'll read them. Fine. For our second team point guard, we have Mr. Joseph Henry White. That would be our second team point guard. There you go. For our second team shooting guard, Mr. Samuel Jones, no middle name. And there you go. Still on our second team. There you go. I'm sorry, I'm reading something else. Second team small forward is Mr. Paul Anthony Pierce, the truth, if you will, makes our second team small forward. And our second team power forward is Mr. Thomas William Heinsohn. He William, yeah, that's it. And that's our second team power forward. And then, of course, our second team center is Mr. Dave Cowens.
Another forgotten. I mean, this whole, with the exception of Pierce, I think this whole second team is people who I think don't get their true, props in today's current discussions of great players. I mean, Cowens and Heinsohn are, Heinsohn very well could have made that first team. JoJo White didn't even have his best years as a Celtic, and yet is still, when you wind up behind Bob Cousy, I think you're doing okay.
This is true.
And Sam Jones, again, maybe the best shooter in the history of the Celtics. So that's saying a lot.
He did. JoJo did win 2 championships with the Celtics, though. So.
I know, but I'm saying, he had great years with the Celtics, but didn't he play for? Who did he play for before the Celtics?
Nobody started.
Nobody.
With the Celtics.
He was always the Celtics.
Yeah. He went to the Warriors for a year, and then the Kings after that for a year.
I'm thinking of Tiny Archibald. I'm sorry.
Yes. That would make sense. There you go.
Yeah, and you look at a couple of guys that are, on the bench, which you're going to read their names in a minute, and sort of more from our era. And look at
a couple Hall of Famers.
Yeah, right. And I go, how did they not crack the first or second team?
It's just, getting onto the all-time starting team of the Boston Celtics is pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be an absolute
there's going to have to be some players, current players or future players that really do a hell of a lot to crack even the second team here, much less, start toying with the first team. And I think this list is pretty locked in for a very long time. So,
I think the only person playing, Brown and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Mhm.
Time will tell. I mean, you could. I would argue maybe Tatum could enter the conversation at some point, but I think the other thing is just what's impressive is how many of these people played almost their entire career on the Celtics. You just don't see that very much.
Yeah, there's a lot of these players on our list here played most, if not all, of their career.
And then, and I think that's also why some of the people who are on the bench who have had Hall of Fame careers, their numbers and what they did as a Celtics just doesn't crack those other 10 players.
Right.
Especially at their position.
Very true.
Right.
So, all right. So speaking of our bench, let's move on to our bench. Our reserve number 1, we have 4 of them, is going to be Mr. Robert Parrish, the Chief. Robert Lee Parrish, as a matter of fact. He actually started with outside the Celtics organization. He started with the Warriors, and for 4 seasons, and then came to the Celtics for
I think a lot
15 years.
I think a lot of people would automatically think of Parrish as the second best center in Celtics history. It's just when you look at what Dave Cowens, people just don't remember Dave Cowens.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
that was my first thought was Parrish, and then I started looking at the numbers and looking at Cowens.
Dave Cowens used to push Kareem around.
Yeah, and I went back and forth between the two of them a little bit, but I couldn't make enough of a case, even in my warped world, for Parrish to be on the second team.
It's pretty definitive when Pete's warped world agrees.
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Dave Cowens, you are certified, sir.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Parrish, he had 4 championships. He had one of them with Chicago.
Right. He didn't really play very much, but
no. So he got that elusive 4th.
I think he played 13 games that year, but good for him.
So, there you go. What the?
He was like 42 years old, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, it was towards the end of his career.
Yeah,
he played until that was the last year he retired after that championship.
Yeah.
So.
Who was the center on the Knicks that was like 44 years old? Still came in the backup, Patrick Ewing.
Jeez.
God, I could picture him.
Yeah, we just talked about this like not that long ago too.
Yeah.
I'll think of it.
Yeah.
But moving on, at this point, our second bench member, if you will, is Mr. Dennis Johnson. Dennis.
Yeah, DJ, one of the best defensive players of all time.
DJ. Yep. Very, 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 very good defensive player. Absolutely. Played around a lot. I mean, he was on the Supersonics and the Suns before the Celtics. But he was part of that, Celtics 80s, dynasty.
Yeah, didn't he hit like a championship clinching shot or something? Maybe it was just one of the games on the way. I thought he maybe put in the last shot for one of their championships. Maybe not. Maybe it was just one game on the way, but
this is true.
Not known that much for his offense.
And he was a coach for one of Pete's favorite teams to use as the team name for a lot of other teams once for a season. So the Clippers. So
Herb Williams is who it is.
Herb Williams, yes. Herb Williams, yes.
He played till he was 61 years old.
He's still playing. He's
still playing.
He's on the Charlotte Hornets. Nobody knows.
Technically a player coach on the Hornets.
That's right.
Exactly. And he's the main reason why Brady still wants to keep playing, because he won't retire, neither will he.
Because Herb Williams is still out there.
Exactly. All right. Number 3 on our bench is Mr. Kevin Garnett. Kevin Maurice Garnett, the big ticket, or KG as his friends affectionately call him. He would have been on several other of our lists, or at least one other of our lists, had we not had the 3-year residency requirement.
Right.
But in any event, big ticket, good. I mean, hey, did really well on the Celtics and won an NBA championship with them. So
he would definitely be on the top 10 Kevin's list.
No,
absolutely.
He'd definitely be the best starting center, although maybe not for long for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Although he, I think, likes to call himself a power forward. But
Yeah.
Right.
He'd definitely be on the top 10 straight out of high school.
Right.
On that list.
You could look at it that way. Yeah, you could see that.
It's a big list.
It is a very big list. Who would be number one on that list?
Well, LeBron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kobe
number two.
I think maybe, I don't know. I would maybe have Kobe still.
I would put Kobe number one and LeBron number two. I would.
I think LeBron is ruining his. I mean, I've never seen anybody down on somebody who just averaged at the age of 37 almost 31 points a game.
Right.
But that's a whole other discussion.
Right. We can have that another day. So there you go. And our last player on the bench is Bill Sharman. Bill Sharman.
Don't squeeze.
Don't squeeze him. He didn't want anybody to squeeze him. William Walton Sharman. He invented toilet paper.
He did. He was on that 08 Celtics team, right? The 1908.
At 93 years old, he was on the. So,
all right.
Actually, in 08, in 08, he was 82 in 08. No, 82 in 08. So,
slightly older.
So he could have been. He could have been on that. Yeah.
He's no Herb Williams.
He's no who is though, besides Herb Williams and Tom Brady, obviously. So there you go. So that is our list of Boston Celtics. Hope you enjoyed it. More.
Come on, you Boston bastards! Argue with us. Come on.
Pocket of a day. All right.
Nothing.
All right.
By the way, according to my research, Bill Russell has 3 kids.
3, not 11.
Yeah, not 10
okay.
or 11. So.
There you go. Okay. So
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, a little bit. But you kind of wanted to. You want to see 27 children. He's got.
Well, listen. Yeah. That kind of skill, it can't all be learned.
This is true.
You want to spread those genes around.
This is true.
One of the best centers of all time, and he was fiscally conservative.
There you go. Well put. So there you go. All right. That brings us to this week's Old Balls. Old Balls. Harry, please tell us who this week's Old Balls recipient is.
This week's Old Balls recipient is none other than Mr. Cedric Cornbread Maxwell. That's right. And yes, did I pick him because of his nickname?
Absolutely.
Quite possibly.
Brian, you thought his middle name was Brian. It's not. It's Cornbread.
Yeah. Hey, look, he was picked in the first round, 12th overall by the Boston Celtics. He played from 1977 to 1988. He was a kind of a small forward, I would say power forward. He was kind of an enforcer in some ways. He won 2 NBA championships with the Celtics in 81 and 84. He was an NBA Finals MVP in 1981. Mm-hmm. I think he gets forgotten about for just how good he was for those years on the Celtics. And, averaged over 12 and a half a game, almost 6.5 rebounds a game, 10,465 career points and over 5,000 career rebounds. He was, one of those role players on those Celtics teams, especially in those Celtics Lakers, dynasty years where they were just battling each other all the time. Cedric Maxwell was a big part of that. And, he covered James Worthy. He was kind of a guy who swung above his weight. He liked to talk. He was always great with the press. And he showed up big time in the playoffs. And, I don't know. He seemed like he was one of those guys that you just always saw him on the court in crunch time on those Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, 80s Celtics teams that were winning championships. He was always there. And, he was there before Larry Bird, but he was certainly there. He wound up becoming this 2-time Sixth Man of the Year award after losing his starting spot to Kevin McHale, and was just a great role player. And his nickname is Cornbread. So there you go. This week's Old Balls recipient. And by the way, he's also a radio broadcaster in Boston.
Sure.
where he's announced Boston Celtics games for many years. So Cornbread Maxwell, Cedric Cornbread Maxwell, this week's recipient of the Old Balls Award.
Old Balls. There you go. All right, cool. And there we have it. So let's discuss some, speaking of old balls, playoff picture implications, since this Sunday is the last, this will be the last sports podcast before, we hit playoffs at this point. Play-in games start next Tuesday. So obviously the podcast on Wednesday. We'll be already into the playoffs by the next show. So let's talk about this. Let's start off with the team that we thought was probably going to, compete for the number 1 seed in the East, and now is just barely getting into the damn playoffs. Let's talk about them.
The Charlotte Hornets?
Yeah, right. No, Charlotte Hornets are higher than them. So
then the Nets? Who are we talking about?
Yeah, the Nets.
The Nets are actually ahead of both. They're tied with Atlanta. They're in 8th right now.
Oh, they are they?
Yeah. They, I think they're winning. They think they won.
As of tonight.
They won big tonight.
Okay. I had this playoff picture up from right before we started the show. So obviously,
they beat up on Houston tonight.
When we started the show, they were in the 10th seed. Now they're the 8th seed. So look.
And Miami crushed Charlotte, so that helped them. Toronto beat Atlanta. So and Minnesota lost again. So it's interesting in the East for sure.
Well, look at it this way. They're 1 game out of the 10th spot and 2 games out of not being even in the playoffs. So
yeah, but again, has there ever been a play-in team that you maybe don't want to play? I mean, the Nets, who knows what's going to become of the Nets?
Actually, they can't.
Before tonight's game,
there's not enough games for them to actually drop out of the top 10. So they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they're in the playoff. But before tonight, they would have played Charlotte.
They would have played Charlotte for
now, as it stands, they're going to play Cleveland.
Who's not playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at that point,
I don't know if they've. I guess maybe they've done themselves a favor.
Wait, so 7 plays 8 or 7 plays 10?
7 plays 8, and then whoever wins gets the 7 seed. Whoever loses plays the winner of the 9-10 game.
That's right.
Yeah.
So as of right now, the Nets at least have 2 games left for the season.
Yep.
Yeah, even if they lose to Cleveland, they're going to be able to play either the winner of the Atlanta Charlotte game. But then again, they could.
They could win the East.
They could win the East. Well, they could win the East. They have to get to the.
I'm not saying
conference finals, but
yeah.
But they could drop back down too. I mean, they have 2 other games.
Yeah.
They got 38, 30. They got 3 games. 3 games. They got
3 games left.
3 games, right? 3 games.
I don't know.
Let's see. They
play on Sunday, so yeah,
they
Thursday.
41 and 38, so they have played 79 games.
So they have 3 games left. So yeah, I mean, if they
play the Knicks,
they cannot climb out of, no matter what, they cannot climb out of the play-in tournament.
Who else do they play? The Knicks and
because Cleveland has 80 games.
All right, so the Nets play the Knicks in the Garden. They play Cleveland and Indiana at home.
Right. So the best the Nets could do is end up in 7th.
Yes, that's the best.
Cleveland loses their last 2 games and the Nets win, then they will move into 7th. Or if they are tied, I don't know what the tiebreaker is. Head to head, I would guess, right?
Right.
So I don't know what that.
I mean, the Nets should be able to win out, right?
Who do they got left?
The Knicks, the Cavs, and the Pacers.
Okay, so
they have the Knicks away, the Cavs home.
They're not going to win all 3 of those.
They should.
Yeah, but they won't.
Okay.
Well, the Cavs only have 2 games, right?
Yep.
Okay, so as long as the Nets win 2 games and one of those games is the Cavs,
They jump ahead of them.
They jump ahead of them because they'll have a head-to-head.
But it doesn't matter. They're still going to probably wind up playing Cleveland. But they'll play them at home.
Well, but I don't know. What's the season series between them if they end up tied?
Right. Good question.
See.
So, look, for all intents and purposes, they're not getting the 7th seed. They're probably going to wind up.
Probably not.
They're probably going to wind up 8th or 9th.
They're going to run the table.
Yeah, it depends on what. Let's see. What does Charlotte and Atlanta have? Let's see. Charlotte's games left. They have. Well, they lost tonight. Obviously, they have the Magic at home, Bulls away, and then the Wizards at home. So the Bulls is a loss. Magic is a.
I say
I'm going to go out on a limb
win
and say as a win.
Well, I wouldn't say the Bulls is definitely a loss. They're struggling right now.
I think the Nets are going to win out.
Okay, fair enough.
So they'll win out and they'll be in the 7th. So they'll essentially be in the same spot.
But they'll be able to play at home,
Just
and
be a home
Kyrie
game.
can now play.
Right.
Kyrie had a big game tonight. Granted, it was against the Division II Houston Rockets.
Well, you got to shine when you got to shine.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look, the East is tough. The Bulls, not as great as what we thought. They were at the halfway mark.
No,
Miami
fell a lot.
Miami has proven to be really resilient. The Bucks are kind of a question mark. They win big against some teams and then shit the bed against others. And I'm still not convinced the Sixers have the chemistry. I think that the 2 top teams in the East are the 2 top teams sitting at 1 and 2 right now.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree with you.
Yeah, listen, Chicago is not the same team without Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
Who
they're just not as deep.
No, and apparently he suffered a setback in his knee rehab. So
and look, Celtics and Miami, they're good. The Raptors are a team that I do not want to have to play in the first round because they are playing some really good ball, and I think they give some matchup problems to some teams. So we shall see. But I mean, look, Charlotte, Atlanta, we know what Atlanta did last year. Cleveland, good young team. The Nets, all these playing teams, it's interesting. It's going to be really interesting.
And Atlanta just beat the Nets a couple nights ago.
Right. Atlanta's 7-3 in their last 10. The only team playing better ball in the East right now is Boston. So,
to your point of the Toronto games, Brooklyn better make sure that they don't wind up playing Toronto at some point because then they're back to not having Kyrie playing the away games there.
True.
So he ain't getting in Canada.
Toronto's dangerous, but I don't. I mean, Giannis is peaking right now.
Yeah, right now it looks like a Bucks Toronto first round series, which is tough. Sixers Bulls.
Bulls. Sixers should win that.
I mean, you could see a Boston Nets, right?
Could be Boston Nets. Yeah, it could be Boston Nets, and then
Miami. Because 2 teams make it in, right? In the play-in.
2 teams make it in, yeah. So it would be Miami.
So it'd probably be Miami. I'm guessing Miami and Atlanta.
Miami, Atlanta, yeah.
And then Boston and the Nets, which.
So if it's Boston and the Nets, so you're saying that if assuming the standings stay the way they are right now, or even if the Nets, if the seedings stay the way they are right now, or even if the Nets move up to the 7th seed, you're saying the Nets are going to beat Cleveland and move in and keep the 7th seed.
Will, yeah.
And then Atlanta's going to beat Charlotte and then beat Cleveland to get the 8th seed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I would probably.
And imagine that homecoming for Kyrie in the playoffs having to play in Boston.
Would be interesting.
Well, and right, and he also has to play Cleveland.
Right.
So he's going to go to a few towns where he's been before.
Cleveland's not playing great right now, but they are a talented young team.
Yeah.
And props to Cleveland this year because I think they're the most improved team in basketball.
Now
I would say so.
these first games are just one, right? It's not a series.
One game.
Yeah.
It's playing.
So, and Cleveland is, they're good enough to put together a good game. And look,
absolutely, especially if they're home.
Right. And it doesn't matter who the Nets play. They're terrible at defense.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I can't see them. I can't see them getting.
What's more disappointing? Okay, the Nets losing in a play-in round, or the Lakers not making the playoffs at all. Which team is more disappointing this year, the Nets or the Lakers?
Well, it's got to be the Lakers, right?
Yeah,
I would say so.
I mean,
they've had more time on the court together than the Nets, and the Nets had just a major upheaval with the trade towards the end of the year. So
right. I mean, the Lakers, you can blame injury and the absence of Anthony Davis, but Russell Westbrook has not been any sort of tonic for them.
Oh, he's been pretty bad.
Yeah, but then again, you look at Brooklyn and you go, well, Kyrie wasn't missed, almost 40 games just because they were home games.
And
that's a lot of
listen,
time,
guys.
too.
Listen, San Antonio's 7-3 in their last 10. So,
yeah, I would take them over the Pelicans.
Yeah,
again, they're hot right now. But
yeah,
I think
the West is going to be. I mean, it's just the Nuggets. The Nuggets are a 5th seed in the West. And they would be fighting for a 3rd seed in the East.
Well, listen, Denver's coming back against San Antonio. They were down big before.
Yeah.
The Nuggets were like 20 before. Now it's 7.
Yeah.
But that's,
And to your point last week, too, Nuggets. The Grizzlies, I mean, they've won 7 in a row. And,
Memphis without John Morant.
That's my point. Without John Morant, yeah.
Look, they beat Phoenix in a very convincing way last week. And I watched that game. Pretty much the entire game. I do not think there's a more athletic team in the NBA than Memphis. Memphis is no joke. They are going to be really, really, really hard to beat. Really hard to beat.
Yeah, he's out as of last week. He's out at least another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
John Morant.
So they're going to have to play, the first round, maybe beginning of the second round without him.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem to be phasing them right now,
No, they might wind up playing a pretty hot Clippers team right now.
True.
With Paul George back,
but he always sucks in the playoffs. So.
Yeah. I think
probably praying for that.
I think the play-in teams in the West are nowhere near as dangerous as a couple of the play-in teams, especially the Nets in the East. And even if the Lakers do by some way, shape, or form get in, they just don't scare me, especially with LeBron not healthy. It just, I watched the Nuggets Lakers game. What was it? Sunday? I guess it was Sunday. And that Lakers team, even with Anthony Davis on the floor, the Nuggets, Jokic just took it to him. And they were putting Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard on him at the same time. And the Nuggets just slowly pulled away in that game.
Yeah.
The Lakers are a team that needs to, there's going to be some big decisions made in the offseason. I mean, LeBron has been more injury prone, but LeBron should be in the discussion for the MVP this year. LeBron is averaging 31 points a game and 8 assists or 8 rebounds. Something like that. I mean, don't quote me on those numbers, but he's having a hell of a year. It's just that I don't think LeBron has ever been on a team that's 16 games under 500.
Yeah, I mean they'd have to win out, and the Spurs would have to.
He's averaging 30.3 points per game, 8.2 rebounds, and 6.2 assists.
Yeah, those are crazy numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But we see that all the time, right? Now he's LeBron, so it's a little bit different. But we see guys have great seasons on teams that don't go anywhere.
Well, and if you watch him, you just notice there's a difference. There's just a difference in his ability to just take over a game. Now, I would not want to see a healthy LeBron in a playoff series because But I just don't think the Lakers, even if they were able to get into the play-in and get past the play-in round, I don't think they have enough firepower to win a playoff series. I just don't think they do.
Yeah. And if they don't get in the playoffs, which they almost certainly won't.
They probably won't.
They have to win out.
Right.
And the Spurs
They have to win out and hope that the Spurs or the Pelicans
have to
lose out.
3 games. Yeah, lose out. So there's the argument: if the Lakers don't make the playoffs or the play-in, well, how do you give the MVP to LeBron then?
Sure.
Because, okay, if he wasn't on the team, they might have had 11 wins, but who cares? They still wouldn't have made the playoffs.
Right.
But he could win it. He could win it even if they don't get in. But I don't
know. And this is my problem with the Nuggets is that they can beat Philadelphia, they can beat the Lakers, but then they struggle against San Antonio. I just don't have any confidence with the Nuggets in a first round playoff series, especially with they just don't have the consistent shooting that you need in today's NBA. They just don't have it. But yeah, I mean, if you don't think Jokic deserves the MVP, then I don't know what you're watching, because he's got 34 and 11 already, and it's the end of the third quarter.
Yeah. Listen, if for once I'm going to agree with you on that.
I mean,
it's
just unbelievable what he's able to do.
If Ja Morant hadn't gotten hurt, then I would maybe give the nod to him. Just because.
Although the Nuggets without Jokic are not anywhere close to the Grizzlies without Ja Morant.
Well, yeah.
The Grizzlies without Ja Morant are winning.
Right. Right. Or a 9-1 or something. Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, they'd be 10-1 if he didn't get hurt.
They'd be 10-0 if he was there. Right. The Nuggets would be 0-16. Yes.
In the last 10 games.
Played 10 games.
Right. That's right. And then there's Phoenix.
Phoenix looks good.
Like,
I'll tell you what.
It's like, okay, let's get to it. Bring it on here. We're they're going to be
Memphis kind of what Memphis did was out Phoenix in that last game between the two of them in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, and they dominated them. But yeah, those are the two best teams in the NBA right
now. All right. Should we make any? We'll make predictions next week, because
give it next week. Yeah.
We'll be the playing games and we'll know where the seating is for everything else. So we can make our predictions at a better clip at that point.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Shall we talk any hockey?
It's cut. The playoffs are starting in hockey too.
Well, 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
2 weeks later. So they got whatchamacallit. This Rangers have 12 games left. Carolina has 13 games left. Colorado has 13 games left. So it's 13, 14, 12, somewhere in there, games left for everybody. Rangers are 4 points behind Carolina for the one spot in the first spot in the Metropolitan Division. So they're playing really good hockey.
Florida and the Avalanche continue to be the creme de la creme of the NHL right now.
Yeah, and the Avalanche are 104 points, and the Panthers have 102 points.
106 and 104. Yeah,
106 to 104.
Avalanche are ahead by 2, but at that point it doesn't really matter. It's you just look at the consistency. The Islanders are actually starting to play. They just decided, towards now that there's no chance of them doing anything, that they'll start winning games. But
right. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's interesting. It's coming down to a lot of things. It's going to be exciting playoffs. I'm looking.
The Devils and Flyers have been eliminated. So
yes,
and unfortunately, the Montreal Canadiens have as well.
They have as well. 19 wins. It's kind of hard to. They were kind of eliminated 2 months ago. Not really, but yes.
The Rangers, the Hurricanes, and the Penguins are kind of all stacked up there. And who wants to play the Capitals in the first round of a playoff series? Raise your hand. That's never fun.
No.
So, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure. There's some good teams this year in the NHL.
As it sits right now, the Rangers are playing the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That'd be fun.
and it's just amazing though that the Kraken have 3 more wins than the
Montreal.
Canadians.
And for our Chicago
and one more
contingent, sorry, the Blackhawks are just not good.
Yeah, Blackhawks are
11 games under.
They're 11 games
500.
But they've still managed to hold on to their name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
Who will be the last quote unquote racist team mascot name to remain?
So, well, I mean, it
is the Blackhawks, I guess. Huh?
Is the Chiefs or the Braves?
Any less racist? I don't know. I think the logo for the Blackhawks is what makes it.
I don't think it's the name. I think it's the logo.
The tomahawk chop for the Braves doesn't help their cause.
Well, it's not a chop. It's just the tomahawk for their.
They call it the tomahawk chop.
Well, what they do.
What they do in the stands.
They do in the stands, right?
Here's the thing, though, about the Blackhawks.
Well, if you remember, we used to do that at Giant games.
Yeah, why don't they just
the Giants were playing the Redskins?
Why don't they just put a
kind
bird,
of throwing it back at them,
an actual hawk on their logo?
Well, but the Blackhawks are an actual Native American tribe, aren't they?
I believe that's where it came from. Yes.
Okay, so
I don't think they gave their permission.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. In other words,
for a hockey team.
Well, right, yeah, but I mean, if you look at the logo, right? It's not like the Indians logo, right? Which is the Indians, which is what fucking Columbus called them because he thought he landed in India.
Right.
Idiot. Or at least that's what we were taught in school. In other words.
And your teacher actually said fucking idiot, too, is what the
yeah, he was fired the next day.
I mean, look. Yeah, it doesn't bode well. I mean.
But I think it's the question of the appropriation.
And there are some people who want to turn it into a hawk. There are some people who actually want to turn it into a hawk. Mm-hmm. Probably a good idea.
Well, listen, the Devils could, that's offensive to Satanists.
No, it's not offensive to Satanists. It's offensive to anyone who's not a Satanist.
Right. Well, it's the Jersey Devil. It's not. I mean, it's not a devil. It's the Jersey Devil. It's something completely different. So it's the New Jersey Devils.
But I mean, you got Pittsburgh, you got Buffalo, you've got
the Penguins. Who's
animal rights advocates.
Okay.
Right?
Buffalo,
you got Anaheim, you got San Jose,
what's wrong with Buffalo? People that fence, they're
Bills.
Well, no, there's a buffalo on the label.
Oh well, no, it's just, they're the Sabres though. So the Buffalo is there because of the town name.
I think he's talking the Bills.
Well, no, the Buffalo Sabres have a buffalo on the logo too.
No, Buffalo's all the teams have the same logo. Don't they share a logo?
Well, it's just the Bills and the Sabres.
Just the two, yeah.
But yeah. So it's Canadians. Is that offensive to Canadians? Or
no,
people that aren't?
No, because it's Canadians, and they're Canadian.
Gotcha. What about Carolina? I mean, anybody that's lost property in a hurricane might be.
Well, see, there you go. That's insensitive.
There you go. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Somebody's gotten struck with lightning. God forbid. It could be.
Yep.
Yeah, I do want to. All right, let's put a moratorium on teams named after natural disasters. Let's put a little fucking moratorium on that.
Avalanche is probably the worst of all of them.
And any team that's name is a verb, that's also let's just stop.
Well, what about the Bruins? That's a bear, right?
It's a bear.
Something.
A Bruin is a bear.
Okay, so that's the animal rights people are up.
But all sports teams are traditionally are after animals.
I know they're all exploitative.
Toronto.
No, they're not.
Toronto.
You're going too far.
Toronto. The Maple Leafs. People that prefer oak trees might, All right, I took that too far. All right.
Yeah,
I think you've got a point there.
Anyway,
if there's ever a team that it just doesn't have the same ring.
All right, one more and I'll stop. I have to say it because it's sitting right there. Columbus. What about somebody that likes to wear red?
I don't understand.
The Blue Jackets.
So liberal
Blue
bastards.
Blue Jays. Yeah.
Well, the Red Wings, that's probably named after a bird, right?
Sure.
Lots of animals, yeah.
Ottawa Senators, or the Capitals. Geez, that's the problem with this country is government.
Then, well, I mean, a lot of teams. I mean, just not in hockey, obviously. A lot of teams all over the place are named after animals. So you could call it animal rights.
I'm sure
if that's for real.
I don't think naming a team after a Blue Jay is exploitative of Blue Jays.
I think the PETA folks are up in arms about it.
I think it mostly
and the
be
Kraken,
the Blue Jay.
the Greek mythologists. They're not going to like that.
Well, yeah.
As if the Kraken was a bad thing. It was a Titan.
And can we learn how to spell socks? Come on.
Well, it's cheaper to make the jerseys if it's.
Can't we have a team called the Lost Sox?
The Lost Sox.
Yeah. Where do the Lost Sox go?
We could do that.
Nobody knows. All right. We're losing momentum here.
Yeah. Well, listen, all team names are bad.
It always happens when we hit hockey.
Yeah. Well, I do have the non-hockey.
Uh-oh.
Well, do we want to talk about the national championship game?
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Real
about how Duke lost and then North Carolina lost? It was glorious. Glorious.
That Duke North Carolina game was a great game. Both teams didn't necessarily play great. Duke, I think, lost that game more than North Carolina won it.
I have to concur. I mean, North Carolina did play really good down the stretch,
and I'll tell you,
but Duke, it was Duke's game to lose. Is what it boiled down to at the end.
Duke did not take advantage of the opportunities that were handed to them, especially towards the end of the game. Having said that, I would have loved to have seen Mike Krzyzewski. I don't think Duke was going to beat Kansas. I think Kansas played their worst half of basketball year last night.
Yeah.
And they came out and said, hey, we need to win this. And they did. Mm-hmm. And you have to give them credit for that.
Yeah, it was the biggest comeback, 16 points they were down.
And look,
15 points in the second half
right.
was the tied for the biggest, but in the half, but 16 points that they were down in the first half, that was the biggest comeback to win a championship game.
And the reality of it is that North Carolina was no 8 seed. North Carolina was playing the second best basketball in the country towards the end of the year, and give props to Hubert Davis and that team. They were on a tear. They were on a tear, and it was a good tournament. It was a good tournament. I think Kansas was the best team. I think somebody picked them to win it.
One person picked them to win it.
So look,
no, it was not me.
Yeah,
wasn't me, was it?
I mean, I picked the Final Four right, even though I picked against what I wanted. But
you picked the Final Four exactly right. You picked UNC, Kansas, and then Kansas winning. I picked it exactly wrong. Pete split it.
Exactly wrong.
Exactly
I love
wrong.
that. That's a good
precisely wrong.
Yeah. Good album title. Exactly
I couldn't
wrong.
have gotten it more wrong.
Exactly wrong.
Exactly wrong.
And my emotional, irrational picks came in second. So there.
Yeah. Villanova was props to Villanova. It does tell you, though,
it's going to be my new blog. Jersey Johnny, exactly wrong.
In the end, these schools that are there just have great programs.
Right.
And even I forget the kid's name on Villanova who got hurt. Whatever. Even if he was on, if he was there, I don't think they were beating Kansas.
No, Kansas is just a really deep team that's well coached, and they have a couple great players. North Carolina, though, there's a couple guys on that team that are going to become very big stars in the NBA. Especially those guards. Those guards can penetrate and make shots that I've never seen before.
I kind of felt really bad for Baycott because he was like, he toughed it out on Saturday night.
Right.
And he came back and played last night, and then to I mean, that's such a freak thing. It's same damn foot that he rolled his ankle on Saturday.
Yeah.
His sneaker gets caught on the.
No, it was weak. Once that happens, it's tough.
Yeah.
But big. That's a great comeback. It's a great comeback.
Yeah. And can we not feel sorry for Mike Krzyzewski?
I don't feel sorry for him
because he didn't. Well, I know it's kind of the debate. Is there and people who don't feel sorry for him because he had a great career and he's one of the all-time great coaches, and he got to do it for almost 50 years. And like, you don't have to go out as a champion. I mean, it's certainly no shame. He's
No,
got,
look,
5 championships or whatever.
Duke, for whatever reason, is a school that's hated by a lot of people because they're good.
Yeah,
and I saw some. I was in a bar watching the
they even produce good quarterbacks,
game.
right?
Yeah, right.
Well, but North Carolina is also hated because they're good.
Right, but I was in a bar with a bunch of North Carolina fans, and the shit that they were yelling at the television to Mike Krzyzewski, I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, like right. Where does that vitriol come from?
I mean, is there ever a guy who's just more about the players than Mike Krzyzewski? Yeah. I mean, he cared more about his players and the players on the other team than he did about his own. I don't really think he gave a crap about his own legacy. He didn't even want to talk about it. All he wanted to talk about was his players and the kids on North Carolina. I don't care what you say. Mike Krzyzewski brought an unknown team to be a basketball powerhouse in a state where there already was a national powerhouse down the road.
Yeah.
And his legacy at Duke is a really, really fascinating story. And I think he does go down as, if not the best, one of the top 2 to ever coach college basketball. And what he did with Team USA, I think, also needs to be mentioned in his legacy by far. There's some great coaches out there right now. I think Hubert Davis has a hell of a future with a great program. Bill Self has just won his 2nd title. You have teams like Villanova and even a team like Baylor for what they were able to come up with this year. There's a lot of good
Alabama.
I think
because they came out with the the odds for the championship next season,
right?
And Alabama was like 3rd or 4th, I think. So
right, it's the same thing. And let's mention the women's side of things. What they're doing in South Carolina is impressive because they're building a powerhouse there. And UConn, I thought, played really admirably. They came. These were the Final Four of the women's side was really good,
right?
But South Carolina is just a dominant team with a dominant player who's going to be a star in the WNBA. And congrats to them because, again, a school that never traditionally was a basketball powerhouse and has turned into one. And the fact that they were able to beat UConn in the championship game, I think, is props to them.
I have to agree. I do.
That was Gino Auriemma's first national championship
loss in the national championship game as his first loss. Yeah, and then one thing about Mike Krzyzewski,
though, 11-1 or something.
Yeah, one thing about Mike Krzyzewski. One thing about Mike Krzyzewski I wanted to say is that I find it was kind of coincidental. You think that his first loss ever back in 1979, 1980, whatever it was to North Carolina.
Well, of course.
And his last loss was to North Carolina.
And the fact that
was his last loss at home and his last loss were both to North Carolina.
And the fact that they had never played each other in the NCAA tournament before is just mind-boggling.
It's amazing how the hell that actually happened.
Yeah. I mean, props to Kansas, but when I think about this NCAA tournament, I think about St. Peter's.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of St. Peter's, I'm glad you brought that up. So, of course, their coach, Shaheen Holloway, left the program. He's going to Seton Hall.
Yeah.
Seton Hall, right.
And now, let's see, Doug Eddert, Daryl Banks, and Matthew Lee all entered the transfer portal this morning. So they're like,
thank you. Out of here.
Isn't that just 1 in 9?
Right.
Yeah. So
the transfer portal is called the PATH train.
The Belleville Turnpike. Yeah.
That too, yeah.
So that may very well be the end of. Not that we were expecting St. Peter's to be a perennial powerhouse or anything, but those two starters and the number one guy off the bench.
Yeah, I'll tell you who
are looking to go somewhere else. So that's
Well, they're going to follow their coach. They're going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, they're gonna get the hell out of
that guy in Defu
Pennsylvania.
on St. Peter's. I really like to see. He's undersized, but man, that guy is a shot blocking machine, and I think he's got a good future. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Shaheen Holloway, had he stayed at St. Peter's, would be able to maintain, this season over and over again.
Yeah, that's just the thing. You can't. I mean, the first 15 seed to go to the Elite Eight or whatever it was, or so your best season ever. You're going to do that again next year and again next year.
No, and look, Seton Hall is a school which has way more of a cachet and way more recruiting power. But what this does is it shines a light on the fact that there are so many kids who are not given an opportunity that can play at this level.
Right.
And all they need is the ability to do that, and to have somebody like a Shaheen Holloway who was able to go and coach at St. Peter's and point them in a direction where he could showcase what they could do. So there's going to be other kids who I think maybe start at St. Peter's or start at a school similar to that. But if they can get noticed and they can get the attention, then maybe they have an opportunity to move on somewhere else. And I think a lot of these kids are, a lot of them are first generation college students who, just weren't able to get into some of these more blue blood programs. I think Shaheen Holloway will be able to look at that and give opportunities to a lot of those kids who have not had opportunities at schools like Seton Hall,
right?
And be able to give them some opportunities. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
All right.
Agreed.
All right. Pete, we have an over-under tonight.
We do not.
We do not. All right. We will save it for next week then.
I'm going with the under then.
I'll take the over.
Well, I win because there's no over-under.
Well, for next week. We just
okay.
picked it already.
Oh, okay. We're being judicious.
Who took the under?
I did.
Yeah, all right. Well, it was 0.
Yeah, so I won.
Well, the over-under was a half, so you win.
Well, no, you can't put the over-under there. I mean, the over-under could have been, -3, and we both would have lost.
I guess I took no.
There you go.
All
right. Anything else? I think
Please,
we're good. I think.
No, I got nothing else.
Right. Thanks for checking.
You were looking though.
Well, there was some news in the international curling world, but
I'll
save that.
Save it. Can it for next week. There we go. All right. On that, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of the shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, except for tonight being a separate night. We had to rearrange the week. So, anyway, for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch the conclusion of the NBA regular season as it wraps up this weekend. And watch the beginning of the Major League Baseball regular season as it ramps up the end of this week on Thursday. And we will talk to you soon, folks. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Tiger's going to play at the Masters.
He is. Yeah.
Go
He's
Tiger.
ramping up to play.
Probably you want to watch Thursday and or Friday because I don't think he's going to be in contention.
He might not be in it beyond that.
Yeah, if he makes the cut, he's not going to be. I don't think he'll be in contention. But what do I know?
Who knows?
I picked the Padres to win the West.
Stranger things have happened. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So, all right. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.